Listen to those sultry bossa nova AI generated fucking vibes. Oh man. So good. So original and totally not AI generated. Super totally. All right, let me just put up the green screen and then we will be good to go. We'll actually go without the green screen today. Hello. Hey, Street Trip, how's it going? Welcome back. Hello, welcome, man. Hey, Cynical, what's up? Welcome. Two people hanging out in the Twitch chat already. Gosh damn it. Oh, yes, I know, Street Trip. I really enjoy pizza. Let me tell you. It is probably one of my favorite things. It is, it's hot and steamy and delicious. Perhaps that's not the right way to no, I know, Cynical. Just give me a sec. We can consider this just the, the initial glory that appears on myself. It's like I'm a Twilight vampire. So hello, for those of you who don't know me over on Twitch chat, it appears there's about 4 of you over there. I'm Goose. I appear to have my chroma key on, which is I think that's okay. It makes me look special. Let me just go ahead and turn that off for a moment. Shabam! There we go. Hey, look. Now I look normal. Hello. So Tuesdays. Let me tell you about Tuesdays. Tuesdays are always going to be either politics or Christianity. Maybe Christianity, but religion in general. I happen to know the most about Christianity of the other religions. That's just why I tend to focus on that. I mean, in addition to that, it's pretty much your average live stream. We are going to talk today very shortly about the brief, I hope it's brief, about the drama between Hassan and Hutch. This is going to mean nothing to you if you're not an enjoyer of Twitch and YouTube drama. It really means nothing in terms of like the news cycle or what is and what is not important to be talking about. Obviously politics is still a thing, and it is still important to try and bring some attention to just the fuckery that's going on with both religion and politics. And so that's why I cover the stuff that people don't tend to like to talk about at parties. Every time I tend to do streams like this, I kind of second guess myself and think, maybe I shouldn't be doing this stuff. Maybe I should just kind of leave politics and religion out of things just so I can have access to a wider viewer base. But then Trump goes and does something fucked up, or the Christians go and do something fucked up, and so I just kind of feel like I am being driven towards wanting to reply to those types of things. That's just kind of like how the cookie crumbles. And if you're a conscientious human being, and you don't want to see people getting shot in the face in the street, and you don't want to see people getting converted to religion at their lowest points in life, which is just obviously seems like scamming and manipulation, and that's what we're here to do. The most important thing, just to kind of get out of the way first, is you are welcome here even if you don't have my opinion. I don't necessarily care what your opinion is. There are goods and bads to that. If you disagree with me and you try to needle me with insults and stuff like that, then I may not respond as much. But if you're thoughtful and you give me an opposing point of view and try to back it up or substantiate it, I'm totally down to hear it. So that's my deal. I want to try and remain open-minded, though I do tend to have a bias away from theism and the right side of politics. Just in case you needed to know that, in case that's a thing you were curious about. All right? So if you don't know who Hassan or Hutch are, Hassan is a very seasoned live streamer, has been on Twitch for a very long time. He's known for his leftist takes, and really that's about it. Like, if you've ever heard anything controversial that I've said, it tends to be on the same sort of spectrum of leftness as Hassan. Like, I always describe myself as being just politically right of throwing Molotovs through Parliament windows. So I would say I fall near the revolutionary side of things, which is very, very far left. Hassan kind of goes a little further than that, going so far as to involve himself in like protests and marches in other places in the country because that's where his platform, quote unquote, needs him. This is not my opinion on Hassan. My opinion on Hassan is that he is a grifter of the highest order, very much in keeping with the likes of Charlie Kirk and, what's his name? Benny Johnson. He is a very much perpetually online person who purports to be a member of the left, but who kind of made his bones that way, kind of made his money that way. Just like BTC, if you're familiar with him, Brian Tyler Cohen, he started out, I think during COVID, or maybe just before COVID, like kind of doing the whole like, I'm making videos in my office to try and kill time because I'm really depressed and lonely. And absolute fucking kudos to him because, other people did it and couldn't make it happen. So, good for him. But it's still grifting, and it's not grifting in like an evil way. It's grifting in a way that you are playing on the sensationalism of the news of the day in order to make money, and that is your sole driving purpose. And it may not start out that way. It's the same thing with like actors and celebrities who call out PDF files and sensual abuse. Okay, you are now trying to pull down my cords. My dog, I don't know if I've ever said this, but she humps. She has a certain toy. I guess you could call it that. It's a big dog toy, but she doesn't actually play with it in the way that dogs play with toys. She just humps it. And sometimes she humps it all the way across the floor and into my wires. So, yeah, Hassan is just more or less a talking head. I know that we're getting this article from the Times of India, probably a very reputable newspaper. But it's the only place I could find it summed up. So, now if you don't know who Hutch is, sorry, I know I'm eating while I'm doing this, but you gotta fit it in somewhere, right? You gotta eat. While I'm chewing this, I'm gonna grab myself some more water. But if you're joining on YouTube, please stick around. Don't just swipe away. Fight your ADHD. Water. So, if you can't hear, I'm losing my voice. It's because I'm getting sick. That's right. Again. Always great to get sick when what you like to do during the day is talk a bunch. So, let's hope that stops sometime soon. So, Hutch, if you don't know Hutch, Hutch is another YouTuber, content creator, whatever you want to call him, aka talking head. I use those terms interchangeably. Talking head is not an insult, the way that I mean it. Simply just a label that we apply to people. So, Hutch grew up in around the same area as me, and had a very successful trajectory in making videos and ultimately live streaming and stuff. He seems to do well for himself. When he first started, I don't know, I opened my first YouTube account, I think, in 2008, 2009, and I was just posting like short little vlogs, and most of that stuff's deleted now, but it was on this channel. I think probably there's a pup video that's the oldest. Or maybe my ground war play on Armada. Anyway, the point is, I didn't make it big. I didn't really care that much, but he made it. He did the same sort of stuff and made it big. And he got onto this a third party, I guess you could call it, called Respawn. And if you weren't around in YouTube back in those days, we had a lot of channels. If you want to get up there, get up there. Oh my gosh. I didn't mean to stop you. You want to get up, get up. Get on up, get on up, get up, get on up. Get on the scene like a sex machine. Losing your voice actually does wonders for your James Brown impression. So, Hutch grew up around the same area that I did. Had around the same sort of friends that I did. Has a little bit of the same background as me. We both worked in restaurants for a while. He just happened to make it in YouTubing. And I happened to become a chef. Those are really the biggest deviations. But every time I was a chef, I would always come back and do content creation for a short time just because I felt like I wanted to. And, you know, that's where I get my fulfillment. But so, you know, he voices his opinion on politics a lot. That's kind of... His major claim to fame was that he was a video game content producer, but aside from that, I think that people continue to know him to this day for his political opinions. You know, he gets like, I don't know, anywhere from 300 to 700 views concurrent on YouTube. So he's doing well for himself. And when he first started out, his politics were pretty far left. They were about the same. Like, he would get outraged at the same kind of shit that I would, and he would do his, hey, I'm Hutch, and I make videos and put them on the internet, and then he would start talking about political stuff. Generally, the stuff that I agreed with. I don't know why I keep having those internal burps, but it is one of the most annoying things in the world to me, because it prevents me from talking. And gosh damn it, talking's what I like to do. So, you know, he would come on, he would talk about his political views, and we would agree on a lot of stuff. Now, Respawn, if you don't know me, hello, I'm Goose, nice to meet you. But also, oh my gosh, here's something about me that you may not know as well. I fucking hate middlemen. I fucking hate third parties. So like Cisco, you know, middlemen, people who bring you the food that gets produced rather than the guy who makes the food. You know, third parties, middlemen, distribution, holding, all that kind of shit. Fucking hate it. I hate dealing with them as a business owner. I hate dealing with them as a customer. I hate dealing with them as a peer. Oh man, it is just, it sucks. In my opinion, Hassan would throw gas on any fire no matter who it burns, so long as it made him money. Hutch, I don't really have an opinion about. And I think that's kind of the majority of opinions up to this point, if you aren't familiar with the current drama that's going on. Really all I think happened is that Hutch made an opinion like he normally does, and Hassan kind of jumped on it because Hassan just does that. Because maybe this time he noticed something that Hutch did, or maybe this time he noticed something. I feel like he's kind of in his own world a lot of the time. He just kind of rolls with his circle, he kind of does what he needs to do, and then like gets off the internet and goes and shocks his dog to death. I don't have that much of a negative opinion about Hutch, but I do feel like his politics have changed over the years. And I'm going to explain that, but with Hassan, I also don't necessarily have a negative opinion, except for just the things that we can prove that he's done. Like shocking his dog. Like, nobody needs a shock collar. You can get a citronella collar. Works just as good. And it doesn't count as abuse. Even then, a choke collar, when used properly, is not an abusive method to train a dog, and that's all it's supposed to be, is a method to train a dog. You're not supposed to walk a dog on a choke collar, you're not supposed to like walk a dog on a spike collar, none of that shit. You train them however many minutes, and then you move on and you put a regular collar on and you don't abuse your dogs. But there are humane methods to training that can involve like surprise, pain, fear, things like that don't necessarily count as abuse, but aren't things that I would do. But citronella collar is a fine substitute for a shock collar. And that, to me, gives you a pretty good indication of what type of person that Hassan is. Maybe it's neglectful, maybe it's abusive, maybe it's a misconception in the efficacy or usefulness of things like shock collars. I don't know. But I think that a person that smart, quote unquote, should be able to assess what they're doing and change course if it's deemed inhumane or unnecessary. But he didn't do that. In fact, I think that he fought back against the accusations. Caspian, how you doing today? Welcome back. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here. So, that being said, as far as Hutch goes, the only reason that I have the opinion that I do on Hutch is simply because we come from the same area. Which tells me, and I don't know if this is a smart thing to assume or not, but if we came from the same area, then I feel like we have somewhat similar socioeconomic backgrounds. And while I went further left because I was impoverished, I have a feeling that people who grow up and make a good life for themselves tend to get further towards the center, or right, I guess. So the idea behind conservatism in general is about protecting your way of life. It's not about protecting any one value that you have. I know that that doesn't sound like the truth, but I promise you, that's what it all boils down to. It's all the amygdala's response. It's all, oh, the other group that I don't trust is being incorporated and tolerated, and so I need to fight against that, which is really just your fight or flight when you see other groups. There have been studies on this. I'm not expert on animal abuse, and I won't condemn all shock collars or whatever because I simply don't know. That said, it's pretty obvious that he was doing, or that what he was doing with that particular shock collar wasn't okay. And I think if he were to come out and acknowledge that, then people would probably have been less harsh on him. But I'm sitting here as an outside observer looking at it going like, I've seen people use shock collars and not abuse their dogs. But hearing about the circumstances just make the situation worse. Which is why, like, I don't cover many streamers. I don't like to cover big streamers or, you know, like well-known talking heads. It's not because I'm like afraid of backlash. It's because I know that there are smarter people out there than me who can articulate better points who are probably going to do videos or live streams on that. Caspian MAGA is Make America Great Again. It's an acronym, and the right side of the political aisle in the US has co-opted the term to basically mean Trump supporter. And that's really all it means now. If you're a member of the MAGA party, you're America First, you're a Trump supporter, you probably agree with all the different platforms that all those guys are promoting, yada, yada, yada. So when conservatives, when liberals get careers and start making money and start being able to support themselves and start having a higher quality of life, their views are going to get more and more conservative. And that's only really in relation to their own status, but it can bleed into other avenues. It can bleed into other arenas, like global politics, like your policies on foreign policy. Like how you believe the country should run is affected very much by your financial capabilities. And if you're a person who signed a tens of thousands of dollars a year contract just to make videos of you video gaming, then you continue to get paid hundreds of dollars per video. You continue to get, you know, paid for your live streams. You get subs all the time because you have an existing client base. You don't really have to experience a lot of that standing in food lines that a good portion of the US has to do. Which means that you can then put money down in escrow for a house. That means you can get married without having to move funds around. That means that twice, I think, I really don't want to give away personal details about it, Hutch, especially if that's not something that he likes to share. The whole point of what I'm saying is that his opinion has changed over time. And I don't necessarily hold that against anyone, but I think if he was to recognize that, he might be able to kind of reflect on a lot of the things that he's been saying lately, and maybe make adjustments where necessary. It's not, I don't think, it's not a purposeful thing, it's not an intentional thing, but I think that just tends to happen to people when they are more comfortable, is they tend to have a more conservative view, especially in terms of how they view themselves. So, I don't know if this article has anything to do with the controversy that I heard about. This seems to be about doxing. And now the website's gone. Oh, here we go. All right, so I guess let's just read this article, and then I'm going to see if I can corroborate any of the stuff. No problem, Caspian. Hasanabi faces doxing allegations after displaying personal details of Destiny-aligned creators. I'm pretty sure Hutch and Destiny don't get along. Another allegation of blah, blah, blah. Commenting on Bana Banana's investigation of donations tied to the PAC called Progressive Victory. While reviewing the material, Hassan displayed on the X platform a post containing personal details, city, state, zip code, and donation transactions of 3 Destiny-aligned. Destiny-aligned creators. That is just... I don't know if you didn't know this about India. India is a bit conservative in terms of American politics. To be fair, I don't think anyone gets along with Destiny, even if they share opinions in politics. Yeah, so again, I'm not sure if this is like the best source to be looking at. But let's continue. The reaction against the act was swift, and many claiming that Twitch's rules of anti-doxing have been flaunted. Is it flaunted or flouted? Can't remember. Continued online political commentary for years. Hutch gave a harsh condemnation of Hasanabi's actions. Not only was he doing these baseless accusations, he doxed us. It's not like prominently featured on the screen like, hello, are we? I don't know what to say, man. I mean, like, I reported the VOD. VOD is still up. Yeah, I mean, Hassan's continued status on Twitch kind of, I guess, proves that Twitch doesn't really give a shit about the actual TOS. What they mostly give a shit about is people making them money. It's always a money game. Hutch also said he learned or had reported the VOD to Twitch, submitting a support ticket, but the video remained on Hasanabi's channel, which begs the questions about Twitch and its enforcement. Yeah, honestly, there have been many times where Hassan has said stuff that would go against. I mean, isn't he? I think he's tanky. I know that he's either, or he might be Zionist as well. But like, if you're supporting genocide or in any way, it tends to go against the TOS. Now I think that I have an interesting view on doxing. I know that in the tech circles, doxing is a thing, privacy is a thing, security is a thing, but that's not really how things work in like entertainment and media. In general, even when actors and actresses use stage names, they still have a lot of information about themselves publicly available. Even like musical artists, anyone who receives a W-2 likely has a lot of their personal details somewhere on the internet. And while I understand that it is a shitty thing to share somebody's personal details specifically for the purpose of dogpiling or brigading them, your information's out there. Like, in terms of Hutch, I don't... I think that a lot of his information is in his videos, and it's been publicly available for quite a long time just because Hutch is on the internet, and because, like, you know, people see that stuff. Even if they're not necessarily looking for it, you may stumble upon it. Like, oh, I would like to read a bio on Hutch. I would like to see, you know, oh, where did Hutch grow up? That kind of stuff. Like, it's gonna be out there. And again, don't think it's a good idea for people to be sharing it, especially if their goal is to discredit someone or to have other people pile on to it. But again, I feel this way sort of for doxing in general, is that it's hard for me to be pissed off if I am a public figure who has put my information out there, even if it's just once or twice. I don't think that he's like raging about it, you know, like, oh my god, I can't believe it, getting like security or protection or anything like that. But it is like going like this with your hand and going like, oh, I can't believe you'd be such a monster, in response. And I think that the idea of getting so triggered by it is probably that sort of thing. Like, I can't believe somebody knows something about me that I didn't openly want to share myself during this conversation. Understandable, completely understandable. But I also think that you're getting caught up in an idea that really isn't that relevant or useful to worry about, because your information's out there. Anyone who wants to find it can find it. And that's not just Hutch, that's Hassan too. That's anybody who claims to be a public figure who does things in the public space. The second you click public, when you publish that video, you're subject to that. And I think that we do a lot of vlogging in general, the human race, the Americans. And we don't really think about that. I don't think that we think about what of ourself we're putting out there or what we're communicating to complete strangers. But it's all the time and it's every day. And I think that it would be folly to try and make that the subject of an investigation or trying to change laws in order to get doxing outlawed or something like that. There are absolutely people who use that sort of thing, like that tactic, to try and shut people up, which, sure, we need to make laws about that, but proving intent is extremely difficult. So I think even if we were to introduce a law that said you cannot share someone's personal details over the internet, which a lot of websites have policies that go against that are protective of that in the first place, like you can report somebody on Reddit for doxing you, But in general, accidentally revealing a document that has your information on it, or talking about the nature of a suit that you've closed already that has somebody's personal information on it, something like that, knowing what somebody's address or what somebody's email address is or what somebody's phone number is, isn't necessarily going to get that person into trouble or attacked or whatever, blackmailed. It's a big deal on Twitch because Twitch is the home of swatting, right? And so you make swatting illegal, and so then you have anti-swatting laws, which we do now because of all the swatting. But again, it really is that's an evil person thing. That's where a person who is gonna try and fuck you up somehow is going to do anything that they can anyway, regardless of whether they have access to your information. If somebody wants to steal your bike, they're gonna find a way to do it, regardless of whether or not there's a law, regardless of whether or not you have a lock on it, regardless of whether or not it's located in your garage. If somebody wants your bike, they will find a way to get it. It would be stupid of me to say that that's how we should handle things. Like, we should just not have protections against things. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I wouldn't dedicate drama to it. I wouldn't try to make a Twitch beef or a Twitter beef or whatever over something like this, unless there was an intent to brigade or to harm or anything like that. I don't know. I think it's almost a non-issue, I guess, is sort of what I'm saying. But then again, I'm not the one being doxxed, so perhaps I'd feel differently if it was me. But then again, people on Reddit, or obviously, if you talk about political or religious things, there are going to be people who come at you, try to like either discredit you or threaten you somehow. And I've been the subject of plenty of people who like, oh man, you just wait till I get your address. I'm going to come show up at your house and beat you up. And to them I say, like, okay, go ahead. If you're that determined to attack somebody for their opinion, then I guess do it. If you feel, I mean, I know how to protect myself, and I have the appropriate permits and the appropriate items bought with those permits and know how to use them. So I'm not, and I guess that's, maybe that's why people need to exercise their rights in the first place, because there are monsters out there who would intentionally come to try to attack them. But it's all empty threats at this point. I'm really not trying to paint a target on my back here, but, that's, I don't know. I feel like being doxxed itself isn't the problem. Being doxxed with the appropriate intent is a problem, and then actually something coming of being doxxed is a problem. I think it's up to lawmakers to determine where the acceptable level or threshold is for what constitutes a danger to a person, but that's not for us to decide. That would be for lawmakers. And I guess the thing that I really respected Hutch for in this debate, was that he emphasized building coalitions as opposed to, I guess, bitching about things. We'll play it, but I did just want to finish this article real quick. Come on, India. Come on, India. Andrew Esquire, an attorney as well as YouTuber famous for his Legal Mindset channel, weighed in, accusing Twitch of letting harassment and cyberstalking go on in the open. So, this is what I'm talking about. This is called sensationalizing. This is when we take an issue that could be very easily resolved just by saying, like, dude, don't be a dick. Oh, okay, I won't be a dick anymore. And if he continues to be a dick, then yeah, bring a law perspective into it. But me reacting to this is what either of these guys want. A lawyer reacting to this is what either of these guys want, and engagement on their channel is what either of these guys want. It's not about resolving this issue. It's about gasping, covering your mouth, clutching your pearls, and say, how dare you? First it's, how dare you dox me? Then it's, how dare you accuse me of doxing? And the cycle goes on and on. Oh my God. All right. Well, that that article, oh no, I clicked that while I was searching. The article, I guess, did not want to stay loaded for us. 4 days ago on Destiny's channel, there was more word on the I guess, Hutch drama. Don't know why it's considered Hutch drama, but here we go. The air on the electrical coliseum was thick enough to chew, a toxic stew of stale popcorn panic and the looming threat of the fascist takeover. It was Game 7, the Blue Donkeys versus the Red Hats. The referees, crew of geriatric fanatics in black robes, had been swallowing their whistles all night, letting the Red Hats elbow trip and gouge their way into a tie game with 30 seconds on the clock. Down in the paint, battling for every inch of hardwood, was the Donkeys' starting center, Joe the Baron Chin. He was a nightmare. 7 feet of West Virginia granite, an ego to match. During the timeout... Oh, let's just get the Hutches. I was trying to see if anything here was mentioning. Hutch sat a few rows down, sweating through his shirt, white-knuckling a plastic cup. Damn, dude. Next to him sat Pisco, cool as cucumber, casually updating the spreadsheet of player efficiency ratings in his phone. Look at them, Hutch hissed, pointing a trembling finger at Section 1917. They're not even watching the game. The Vipers were currently trying to saw through support beams of their own bleachers to protest the arena's ticket price. So this is all metaphoric, obviously. I don't think that's in question here. I really just wanted to see the comments. That was a lot, dude. I agree, but a lot. Pisco wants a well-defined method he can universally apply to determine if someone is ally or not. There, wrong form of the word there. Isn't a perfect test you can apply. That's a general perception of if they are working with you or against you. As the Supreme Court said about determine what is art versus pornography, I know what I see it. Manchin is good because he's a good compromise. Oh, dear God. You see what I'm saying? Like, we have Hassan and Vanguard are bad. We have a culture here where we all kind of stand up on this line against a certain value. Like if it's racism, we're all standing up on the line against racism. If it's transphobia, we're all standing up on the line against transphobia, etc., etc., etc. But then when someone like backs down, we then turn our sights onto each other. And it's always about who's more moderate, who's more willing to capitulate, who's more of a cowardly wannabe lefty, you know? And so this just demonstrates the level of disrespect that we are levying at each other over here on the left. Obviously, I'm not going to play this whole thing. Obviously. And we're keeping, just so those of you who are joining, you new friends out there on YouTube Vertical, we're not going to Christians and MAGA right away because I just kind of want to let you come in and hang out. So as soon as the viewer count grows on YouTube, then we will continue on to why Martin Luther King was no hero. That's right. That's the title of this video. Although it really could be any of these. I didn't pick one specifically. I just kind of went for the one that I thought sounded the dumbest or the most offensive, and we'll go with that one. Of course, this one also.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it isn't at all.
So I guess maybe we'll be talking about that because that seems to be more fun to talk about. But yeah, we're going to be looking at an actual Nazi, defending actual Nazis. And I would love for Christians to tell me, why don't you guys, like, I guess maybe you shouldn't hate, right? Shouldn't Christian guys, I can see my thoughts, but what are they? Space dust, man. Space dust, man. Shouldn't Christians be against... There we go. Shouldn't Christians be against MAGA and not embracing literal Nazis like Nick Fuentes? Shouldn't they? Xavier, do you happen to be Christian? Do you happen to claim to be Christian? Because if you do, I don't know if you should be supporting MAGA necessarily. Or I guess if you're not supporting MAGA, you're supporting Fuentes, who is an actual Nazi, like a card-carrying Nazi. But if you are into it, if you are into Christianity, or if you are into actual Nazis, then look at this liberal infighting.
Donald Trump is a fascist, and then in the next breath tell me, but I'm going to stop short of endorsing the only person that could beat her.
Tell me what I think.
There have been multiple independent.
I think that implanting, I believe in Christ, but I never voted for Trump. So then you're a Christman, but you're not a Trumpman, if I'm understanding correctly. Would that assessment be correct? Ideally, you like watching liberal infighting.
Organizations that have done their own estimates about the projected death toll from USAID cuts globally over the. You can Jesus Christ. Don't moralize to me about Gaza and imply that I don't give a fuck about like people dying or whatever. If you're gonna poo-poo and hand wave the current you, dude, you, all right.
So he used to be this way in one-on-ones, but it's been a while. it's been a while, and I'm not sure if I think both sides are silly. Well, sure. But if the reason you think both sides are silly is because you think that Jews are bad or because you don't like black people, then that's bad reasoning. But if you think both sides are silly because they both promote corruption, they're both utterly and thoroughly corrupt and protect PDF files and rapists, then we can be on the same page about that. But I don't usually justify any stance for or against anyone because black people or because gay people or because Jews are bad. None of those things are things that I've ever thought. I mean, you said Nick Fuentes. You don't think that he's saying any of that stuff? This is literally what he's saying right now. Listen to his words.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the f up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
So you may want to stop liking Nick Fuentes. You like all people, just not Zionists. He's anti-Jew, just specifically anti-Jew. He is anti-Semitic. He does not like Jews. If you don't agree with everything he says, you're still supporting him by supporting the other things that he says that you do like. It's just like if you voted for Donald Trump, if you had voted for Donald Trump, and you were like, oh, it's just because of his economic policies. Well, you're still supporting his whole ICE deal, you're still supporting his cabinet picks, you're still supporting his packing the Supreme Court, you're still supporting all of that stuff. Chemistry is... People who like Fuentes ain't gonna stop liking him. Well, duh. I know that. Perfectly aware of that. Well, I mean, there are plenty of people you can think are funny that don't say horrible, horrible things, right? You choose which content you absorb, which content you digest, which content you consume. You can choose to look at a Nazi, give him engagement, laugh at his jokes while he goes and does Nazi shit. And that would still, by nature, make you evil. You don't necessarily have to agree with someone to like them, but if they say absolutely monstrous shit, you should distance yourself. Nazis aren't cool, man. Like, they've never been cool. Nazis have never been cool. They've never been cool. Everybody dislikes Nazis. So if you are there doing Nazi shit, even if you're being funny, that's a way to get you to like them. That's because they are unlikable. You know? Anyone who wants to eradicate an entire group of people is just, whether they tell a good joke sometimes, is just not a good person. So yeah, I don't know if I want to look at the coming up because we're going to look at it. These guys are the ones that he's arguing against. I don't think it's a 4-on-1. I think there's some moderation here. I don't know who's moderating it. Maybe they'll actually say all that stuff.
This Epstein stuff, let me tell you, some of the files are really fucking suspicious. And oh wait, is that one of our topics, by the way?
Sure.
Get in there. Get in there.
I do want to have a couple little thoughts here. I think
1.25
that
speed,
people are perhaps
just fine.
drawing the wrong conclusions from these different files. I don't really know what I'm talking about in terms of what conclusions those are, but it feels like everyone who's saying that Pizzagate has been corroborated, they're like probably the farthest away from correct. I think that there's some fucked up shit that happened, but I just don't trust. I think that there's a wide-scale manipulation happening from every.
So first of all, I'm losing my voice, so bear with me. I'm getting sick. I think I've been getting sick for a while, and I'm still on the path, and I just haven't quite jumped over the edge yet. But bear with me. I promise. I'm trying to not talk extemporaneously, which if you're regular, you know that I'm telling the truth. The thing about the whole Pizzagate thing, a lot of people on the right assumed that the Epstein files that mentioned pizza and things like that were confirming their beliefs. But actually what it was, if you read the exchanges, again, all of this stuff, all you have to do is read the actual documents in order to know what happened. But the thing that you really, really need is, oh, thank you, I appreciate it, Xavier. I was nervous that I didn't sound very good. So you're giving me a boost in my confidence. I appreciate it. The mention of all that stuff is in response to the conspiracies. And that's like people looking at the Bible and talking about how Jesus fulfilled all these prophecies, but they're looking at it from hundreds of years in the future. They have the benefit of hindsight. Oh, well, let's see. There was a flood, that killed like a big village, and I heard that there was a flood that killed a village in the Bible. Oh, there was a prophecy that Jesus made that like they're going to have one world currency. At some point, there's probably going to be a push to make a one world currency. Just because there's so many populists. Like, it just... Correlation is not causation. You don't look at a bird on a bent down banister and think, oh man, that bird must be really heavy. Like, come on, man. Yeah, you can ask my opinion on anything. I'm an open book mostly.
Everyone right now. And so I'm just on guard right now for a lot of these narratives. And particularly the administration right now, their posture on some of these files has been completely contradictory. And we just had, I don't know, Guy, if you saw this.
It's been almost non-existent.
Come out after them having access to some of these redacted files, that they're straight up like redacting the names of people who are prominent, people who are accused, even though that's not one of the bases of redaction. So I think it's
while doxing actual victims.
It's unfortunate,
but it's the victims that have been doxed before, so it's not like it's a new doxing, but it really is very telling of. It's like, you girls better shut up or else we're gonna release all your personal information. And just so you guys know, I don't know if you know about the whole Savannah Guthrie thing, like her mom being kidnapped. It's very, very clear that it was because of the initial interview that she gave to the victims of the Epstein estate. And you guys know that Ghislaine Maxwell was a Reddit mod, right? And that as Epstein himself helped create the poll board that Pizzagate was originally posted on from Q. Like, there's all kinds of ties to all of this conspiracy shit, and none of it proves the conspiracy is correct. It just proves that they were able to do these conspiracies and then play on them because people are so stupid. What's your opinion on Israel's influence into American politics? I think that Netanyahu's a bit of a monster, and I think that any kind of ethnic genocide is pretty bad. And a lot of prominent U.S. leadership supports Israel regardless of anything they're doing. And I think that's a bad take. And many people on the right are using all of this to say, see, look, all Jews are bad, which I also don't agree with. I think that in all groups of people, there are bad actors. In trans people, there are bad actors. In gay people, there are bad actors. In black people, there are bad actors. There are bad actors in every single social circle because there are good people and there are bad people. And if anything, that proves that those social circles should get to exist because we are all human beings and we are all capable of corruption. We are all capable of being evil. We are all capable of being good. And if we are to look at an entire group of people like the Jews and say they're all bad, then we're coming from a losing position, because that's exactly what Hitler did, and Hitler lost. And any new Hitler is not going to win. So Trump is trying to very closely follow that entire timeline, even as far as the beer hall push. I think it's pronounced Push, but it sounds weird to me saying that, and I don't like it, so I'm not going to. But the beer hall push was a failed insurrection, if you don't remember. If none of you have ever cracked open a history book. But the beer hall push was what Hitler tried to do, because Hitler was in power, I guess. Not really. He was a war hero, and then he was in power. But he was in power twice, right? Just like Trump. He had a failed insurrection, right? Just like Trump. He had Kristallnacht, or the Night of the Thousand Knives, or I keep mistaking this for Elden Ring lore. Like, I don't know. It's either the Night of the Long Knives, or it's the Night of the Thousand Knives, or it's the Night of the Black Knives. But I don't know which one. Kristallnacht is the one thing that I know, like, for sure, when they actually defaced Jewish businesses. So, sorry, I've got my Elden Ring lore mixed up with my 1930s history. Xavier, that's awesome, bro. I really dig what you're doing. Spread your voice. I appreciate people like you very much. Keeping people in the loop. Have a good rest of the day, bro. Yeah, no, yeah, you have a good day too as well. Tripping over my words is a classic Goose tactic. You'll see it a lot. Yeah, it's so fucking parallel. Like I always feel like I'm sensationalizing when I think to myself, like, God, I've been calling a lot of people Nazis lately. And, like, when I'm about to put on, like, my stream or something, I think, like, should I be talking about something that is just kind of like the same rehash of what all the people who agree with me say? Which I guess isn't really what I'm doing. I don't know. I think information is good. I think information helps us make sense of things. And I think that if a lot of us who are sitting on the fence get the right information, that it can help push us into the right direction, which is not necessarily left or right, but into more of a rich versus poor idea or mentality. And maybe that's why this infighting is useful information to me to look at.
Democrats should bounce.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's an important thing to cover.
Their photos redacted or something for no reason with no explanation. So clearly something has gone wrong here.
Well, it's funny you talk about the Pizzagate corroborated, and it's like you read, it's like, see, look, they ordered pizza.
They said
see,
pizza.
Look, they ordered walnuts and almonds, and this is code for like children of this like flavor or whatever.
Yeah,
and
see what I mean?
To be fair, it could be the case, but then you read the.
Has Hutch mentioned Hassan? Dan Jr., I don't know if Hutch has mentioned Hassan. I know that in his recent videos and live streams, he talks about the drama. I don't know. I kind of feel like, oh, thanks, Caspian. It's a wolf. It's a wolf shirt with a bunch of like magic and lightning bolts and stuff in a tie-dye fashion. I think it's pretty cool, man. I don't know who made it. We got it from my wife bought it for me from a thrift store. I wish we could find more like it. And that the tag doesn't really give a lot of information. Has Hutch mentioned Hassan? I don't know. He mentions the drama and he mentions the stuff with Pisco, and I honestly feel like this was all just kind of like marketing for the next big debate. But that would be a conspiracy theory. I don't know if that's actually the case. I don't think he would, because, you know, where's Hassan in this? I don't know if they're going to talk about Hassan. Let me see the chapters. It doesn't appear that they're talking about Hassan. This is as far up as I'm caught. So this is about as recent as my knowledge goes. So if he said something
emails and it's
in
like,
the interim,
hi, I really like
don't
that
know
10-year-old you sent me, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, like they're not talking in code, like they just had sex with children.
But I mean, also Kash Patel came out. I think the story hit AP today, basically saying like, no, we looked into it, and there's no evidence of any kind of sex ring, so it's fine. Like, everybody can go home. It's fine. There's nothing to see here. Move along.
He said there was no evidence that he trafficked minors to other individuals. That's, I think, what Kash Patel said, like, basically
Right.
the information that he knew. And a lot of people are looking at...
Which is a very creative way of trying to find a legal loophole to say that it's not worth it to investigate.
that and saying, well, A, did he couch it in enough qualifiers to be free from any kind of perjury charge in the future?
Oh, well, he could have been protecting himself too. I didn't even think about that. See, I feel like these guys are just so zealous that they don't really care much about their own fate. Like they believe that Trump is going to protect them until the very end, even though he's thrown people under the bus before.
Well, I didn't see that information, but at a bare minimum, the sort of optics.
How the fuck are you the director of the FBI and you haven't seen pertinent information regarding a huge fucking scandal?
And the PR shit has been disastrous.
There's no, I just don't feel like there's any ethical reason why you would be doing that.
And yeah, there's blood in the water here, and there's something fucked up about it. I don't know that everything inculpatory is being said on email, but it doesn't seem like everyone has the same level of OPSEC, given some of the suspicious shit that's being sent.
I mean,
well, and then
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, how can we? I'm not necessarily. No, I am very skeptical of what Kash Patel is saying. I'm basically like just asking like.
I mean, as anyone should be, right?
We trust of all people that.
Andre Lucas, what's your favorite ice cream? Holy shit, dude, you are breaking the fucking mold right now. Let me tell you, holy fucking shit, dude. Do you really want to know my favorite ice cream? Do you? I'll fucking tell you. I'm real close to the mic right now. I'm so close you could hear my gums flapping. You want to know what my favorite fucking ice cream is? Boom, baby. It's always anything that has a waffle cone in it. Honestly, typically, like that extends to drumsticks. Now, there was recently, they came out with drumsticks that have all sorts of like candy in the, like the candy in the shell or whatever. Like, think about it this way. Do you like Crunch from Hershey? They got it dipped in that. Do you like fucking Crackle from Hershey's? They got it dipped in that. Do you like other shit? They got it dipped in that. I think they also have it dipped in like mini M&Ms. Like, come on. So Andre, you must be tropical, because in general, the things that people who don't get access to fresh fruit very often like are gonna tend more towards the candy end of the spectrum as far as like toppings go. Now, I'll caveat that by saying that I know that there are plenty of people here in America that, I mean, I don't know if you're in America, but I'm saying that because I'm in America. There are plenty of people here in America that love fresh fucking fruit on their ice cream, and I don't blame them. Obviously, like, not obviously. I used to work in a Caspian. I don't know what that was. Did the auto mod capture it? It looks just like just a space. I don't know if it was caught by the auto mod thing or anything. But like most people, like typically if they have access to fresh fruit, like they're fucking chowing down on fresh fruit all the time. I used to work at a produce department in a grocery store. I was never healthier. Never healthier. Because I never craved anything candy-wise. I didn't really ever drink soda growing up, so I don't have that habit. But like, man, like my poops. My poops were so good. I don't know if being regular is a thing on your guys' radar right now, because, you know, I assume that most people watching me are like younger. But if fiber and your bowel health are not on your radar, they should be, because that shit's real important. For some reason, I'm like the old fucking man. I'm like the dad of the internet. Like, please, guys, take your bowel health seriously. You don't want to get bowel cancer. You really don't. You don't want to get any kind of problem with that, okay, you guys? Make sure you eat your fiber. Andre, are you in a South American country or Central American country? If so, bienvenido. And salud. Y vive la raza. But I would love to eat more fruit. I would. And I feel like if I lived in a tropical environment, I'd probably be a lot more inclined to eat a lot more fruit. Gosh darn it. Pistachio and pecan butter are real nice. Shame they have kind of a rep as old people ice cream. Cynical, come on, don't not eat ice cream based solely on people's opinions about it. Jeez. I like, if I'm eating Ben & Jerry's, I really like the Americone Dream. I know that that's like, oh, filthy fucking liberal likes Stephen fucking Colbert's bullshit. Listen to me, all right? I was watching Stephen Colbert. What's up, Dex? Do I remember you from yesterday or last week? Oh, Brazil. Well, the one country that wouldn't have where Spanish isn't like the dominant language. All right then. I'm sorry I said a greeting to you in Spanish. I should not have just assumed. But I wish I knew what the what is the Portuguese greeting? I know the Filipino one, bom dia. But I don't know the Portuguese one. Sorry. Falau, shulau, fulaliao. Fulaliao. Did I get it right? And I fucking love Portuguese too. It's such a beautiful language. And people with the Portuguese accent, or at least the Brazilian accent. Now, I don't want to sound too much like Dad again here, but there was a few decades ago where I had the pleasure of dating a woman who was from Brazil. And, oh man, that accent. It just melts my freaking heart. Feijoada. Ho! Okay, if you've never had feijoada, you need it. Also, I fucking love what is it? The fried pork. It's like katsu, not bistecca. What is it? Come on, the word's right there. Carne. Frita. Carne frita. Something. Milanesa. Milanesa. Ooh, yes! I got it right? Milanese. Fucking Milanese sandwiches. Woo! Guarana Antarctica is a pretty dope thing from Brazil. I don't know what that is. Zingu Dark Lager. I also don't know what that is. So, yeah. Interesting. I would love to check both of those out because I don't know what they are.
That guy and his word.
Also,
it's like,
remind me. I think pizza and I think mostly pizza is like really famous in Brazil. Like some American foods are really famous in Brazil, but I think pizza is one of them. Maybe hamburgers. But yeah. Oh man, Milanesa. Milanesa con cebolla y queso americana. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Makes me want to speak Spanish for the rest of the stream just for the fuck of it. Solo por la chinga. Solo por la chinga. Although, you wouldn't understand me because you speak Portuguese. Do you speak Spanish as well? If so, beneviendo. Viva la raza. Estás contento?
Did you say something about how Rokana actually saw unredacted?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay, that's news to me.
Yeah.
So what has he said, and what exact? I mean, obviously, there's.
Bruh, someone is flagging my chat. I want to know y'all's age. I'm 40. I'm 41. And I'm not sure how old anyone else is here. I think Cynical might be a little older than myself. And then one of my other regulars who is here, Helmet. He's not here right now, but one of my other regulars is just younger than me. I think he's in his early 30s. And then Amy, I believe, is just a little bit older than me. We've got a few people who show up very frequently, and I roughly know. Cannibalism, not 100%. Do any of these people? Oh, you're talking about the Epstein files. I get it. We're not talking pro-cannibal, unless that's a stance you'd like to take. I'd be willing to hear you out. You know, there are a lot of dead bodies that are buried in the ground, not being eaten. So that could be it. That could be what it's all about. Well, Caspian, I appreciate you sharing that. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't mean to fast forward it.
Trying to insist.
Now, obviously, it's 3 hours, and we're not going to watch the whole thing.
You can make sure.
I'm just going to let you know that right now. We're not going to watch the whole thing.
Wait, so what does Biden do? Biden says, "Hey, Merrick, go release all the documents that are bad about Trump." Like, what did you want him to do?
Well, it's not. No. It's not a matter of like make sure you're looking specifically into the thing about Trump, but like the inverse of that would be to basically say like don't touch it at all or something to that extent. I'm just saying.
But you don't have evidence that happened. That's the problem, right? Like
No, wait.
Yeah, see, we're getting caught up in do-si-dos again. I don't like you, fellow lefty, because you are saying that Merrick Garland should have done something, and I don't like you, lefty, because you're saying that Merrick Garland shouldn't have done something. Do you see how the disinformation campaign that we've been under attack by since, 2015, early as 2012, is trying to get us caught up in the do-si-dos? If you don't know what I mean by do-si-dos, it means like, if you get caught up over the definition of a word, or if you get caught up over what a law says, or if you get caught up in like all of these fucking like nothings, these little details that have nothing to do with anything, then you're not arguing what the actual issue is. And the actual issue is all these rich fucking people and people in leadership, governmental leaders, are engaged in what seems to be a very covered up huge scandal that should ruin most of them. but the talking heads aren't doing that. The talking heads are talking about, well, you said this one thing about some fucking random politician. Merrick Garland's not a random politician, but you said something about the Attorney General, and I don't believe that that's true. I don't agree with that. Bro, are you watching that in of? Is that OnlyFans? Are you trying to abbreviate OnlyFans? And what the video? The video has like an OnlyFans theme, or what? Not sure. HDP from Pluribus. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming you mean the TV show. Hard diamond penis? I hope not. Periscope? Honorable Dolphin Periscope is what I think HDP stands for. I'm guessing though.
It's still it's not a matter of no evidence at all. It's still one of the most like notorious
Well, I won't spoil it so you can enjoy the show whenever you watch it. Yeah, I do want to see it because, Vince Gilligan obviously is a masterful television show creator. I don't know that anything's ever going to live up to the hype of Breaking Bad though. I think he's kind of, I think he's shooting himself in the foot here. I read the logo wrong at the bottom, and also their name's kind of sus. Which name? Which one? I'm Really Important? Or Ogre Boy? Do you have like an OnlyFans model who has similar names or something to these guys? Because I don't know what you're trying to say.
International sex criminals.
Okay, wait,
I think many of these men could be OnlyFans models if they wanted to.
Hold on. Their complaint was not that Biden refused to investigate Donald Trump or Merrick Garland refused to investigate Donald Trump.
If they didn't tell him to release stuff.
Yes, their complaint was that he didn't just release it to the public for political reasons to tank Donald Trump's chances of winning.
And the question is, what does that look like? Hey, can you tell people to go release documents that are bad about Trump? Like, that is what your people, not you specifically, we're commenting on other people. I don't know if you guys have this opinion, but like, what does that communication from Biden look like? I want an answer to that question. What does that communication from White House to DOJ look like?
See, again, this is more like throwing your hands up in the air and saying, well, what did you expect us to do? Fucking pursue the problem. Fucking fix it. Get out of your houses. Get onto the streets. Get in front of the Capitol with your signs detailing all of that information on your signs so they know you know that they're lying, and get them out of office. Get them to impeach the people who are shitty. Hey guys, not to be rude, but let's skip this subject. I'm not here to hear about that. I also read their name wrong. I'm just leaving. Caspian, are you new to live streams? They are not made to entertain specifically you. They're made to entertain everyone. And what subject is it that you don't like? Do you want to talk more about Christianity, or do you want to talk more about... I don't know which subject. Talking about Pluribus? You don't want to talk about Pluribus?
Oh, can I just add? Because
Hey, Zolhaib Jamal, how's it going?
like the perception.
Zolhaib?
Why was Trump impeached for the
Zul
first time,
Khaib.
right? It's like, oh, hey,
Zolhaib.
give me specific documents that specifically implicate my political opponent, and I want to release these, and also I'm using my
Correct.
position
That's
of
the
power
basis
to
of
do
the
that, right?
Yes,
Right.
that is the
And
basis for the first impeachment.
Yeah, right. So it's like,
I can indeed see the chat. It is delayed by a bit. I can try and pay more attention to the chat in the actual YouTube window, but I use OBS, and so if it goes like, you know, it goes further, it goes further, it goes further, and then it's just a delay in general. You Ogre is orgy. You might be dyslexic. Have you been assessed for dyslexia? You might be a little bit dyslexic. But it's okay because I'm neurodivergent, and I think, you know, most of the people that watch the stream are at least have ADHD. So you're among friends. Can your brothers see the chat? Who are my brothers? Are you asking if the other chatters can see the chat? I'm pretty sure they can. But just so you guys know, if you can't see all the messages that are popping up in chat, it could be because you are on top chat instead of live chat. So if you click live chat, then you probably will see all the messages. Other than that, I think the only thing that could be happening is that maybe stream elements might be, like the chat bot might be holding messages, but it doesn't show up in my mod action thing. So I don't think it's holding anything back. But yeah. The other format, first of all, it's 6. Second of all, I'm watching a video. Didn't you notice that these guys aren't moving?
Not quite how that went, though.
I think just by whipping up.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I know it's not the same.
I think that just by whipping up more and more discussion of the situation, there's still such a close proximity that he had. There's a lot that he clearly was in on. I think that at the very least, it would have just generated a lot more like terrible word of mouth and just like shat on his reputation all the more in the lead up to the election. So maybe it would not have had that desired consequence of like, you know, just providing a, you know.
I hate to be like in the middle of this whole fucking thing. I thought they were waiting for the boss to finish speaking. Who's the boss? Which one of these guys is the boss? Who do you see as the boss here? Which one of these men seems the most strong to you? The guy with the propeller hat on? The guy with the fucking wizard shirt and mustache with soul patch? The guy who can't seem to shave? The guy wearing the what is the pink? I don't know what that's. I don't know what that says. But I think that's like a shirt from another so CM Punk, wrestler. The guy that's wearing a shirt of a wrestler, the bald guy, who that's enough reason alone never to listen to him again. Or the guy who hasn't said anything for 3 hours. which one?
What's the like catching him ranking?
Yes, I guess I would consider myself the boss of this particular moment in history of this reaction live stream to this particular video. I'll agree with you there. I'll agree with that assessment. I am the boss of my own universe, yes.
Still, like, I think it could have done a lot.
What's the communication video?
I agree with you.
And then lastly, I think that like I find it really hard to believe.
If you've never been here before, I am turning off my face cam only because I'm about to hit this bong. If you are a fan of hitting bongs and you are also about to help a bong, then smoke them if you got them, and cheers. It is now time to hit the bong. 3, 2, 1. I'm kidding. I actually waited. I'm going to wait for another 2 seconds so that you're completely desynced with me. An ogre is like a monster from folklore. It's typically a beastly thing that likes to go, come to hang out with me at my cave. I've got NBA on Sportscast Deluxe. We can crush a beer or two. That's what an ogre is. They're usually not that friendly, but if I was an ogre, I'd be a friendly one. All right, I'm actually going to hit this bong now. Give me 1 second. Be right back. Thank you for saying that, Zohai. Am I saying your name correctly? Love your energy. It's my first time joining your stream, and you gotta like. Just so you guys know, I don't know if you are the type who want to share the stream with anyone, but my entire basis for live streams is my energy is dependent on the energy of my chat. And so if you guys are chatting and engaging, I'm going to be chatting and engaging. And if you guys get hype, I'll get hype too. If the viewer count all of a sudden goes up to like 100, then I'll be like, holy shit! You know what I mean? This guy's speech is just kind of interesting. Thank you for your very strange assessment. I'll take it as a compliment. All right, I'm about to hit this bong. Give me a second. I'll go ahead and let this play.
Maybe I'm wrong, that he could not have found a way to cut through a significant amount of that red tape. And even if you take Donald Trump out of it, it's still this matter that involves so many other people of consequence that deserve to.
Right, but that's not the no. I grant that this is important. I think there should be a fucking special counsel, whatever. Yeah, if you want to grant that, but there's some reports that they were still investigating, and that in fact Trump shut down aspects of the investigation in one of their memos. But that's not the claim that I think people are pointing to. That I've had it, even though I haven't heard that statement or the Medi one. But I have heard this style of thing, which is they fucked over the election. They didn't really think that Trump was a fascist threat, because if they did, they would have released this information. That which presupposes that there's like insanely inculpatory information here about Trump, which there isn't yet so far that we've seen, other than what's already been known about the nature of their friendship and connection. And then two, that there ought to have been some sort of communication between Biden and the Department of Justice.
So if you've been keeping an eye on the developments surrounding the Epstein files, back in the day, back when Epstein was originally, I gotta go and repair a plug socket with no safety equipment. Have fun, don't get zapped. Though if you do get zapped, hope that it's a very mild zap. Because hey, you never know, it might actually like initiate some strange brain activity. Maybe you'll develop superpowers. I don't know. It happened to the Flash. So if that's any indicator that you should try something dangerous at home, I would take it. I would not recommend that anybody try anything dangerous at home. Kids, Caspian, this means you. Kids, don't try this at home. Okay? Don't do it.
Justice on this area. So I'm going to ask for now for the second time. What would you guys, if you agree?
So the Epstein. So sorry, I meant to continue that thought. When they first announced this whole Epstein thing, a lot of people were like, "Nah, it's probably just sensationalism. It's probably just a conspiracy theory. It's this whole thing about no cynical. How's he going to get superpowers if he deactivates the socket? Come on." Don't put any gloves on and use a fork to get in there. Don't listen to me. Please don't listen to me. Please do not take my advice. I should put a warning up that says, I am not serious. But I'm not big enough yet to be known for my shitty advice. Don't shock yourself. Please. Don't do it. Wouldn't want you to. But so, government leaders were like, it's probably okay. It's just a conspiracy. And then more information came out. And then they're like, it's okay. It's probably just a conspiracy. But each time, the number of supporters was going down. Maybe only 1 or 2 each time, but it was still going down. Like maybe some administrative person in Ohio who was a Trump supporter would be like, oh dear, I don't know if I support that. And then, dropping support. But it's not going to be a cultural shift. And especially now, when you've gotten all this information and you're losing support, all this is do-si-dos. Again, all of this is just a very long way for me to say that if he didn't get canceled from the Billy Bush interview, he's not going to get canceled for PDF-philia. It just ain't going to happen. His supporters either engage in it themselves, see him as a holy figure and therefore can't go against him because of God, or just love him so much that they would never believe anything bad would ever be possible for him to do. And even if it was, it would be he's like, oh, he's doing a psyop. He's trying to lull the actual PDF files into a sense of false security, and then he's gonna spring the trap. He's gonna reveal himself as Q. I knew about pizza this whole time. Ha ha ha! You motherfuckers! I don't think that's gonna happen.
What does that communication from the White House to the DOJ look like?
I don't think you have to actually even mention Trump's name at all. That's the point, right?
I'm asking what it looks like. Can you give an example of like what you would say if you were in charge? Like, hey, Mr. Merrick Garland, now we heard about this Epstein stuff. Release stuff. What does it look like?
You can simply just ask for an update on the progress of
Why do they believe? So again, sensationalizing. We're infighting. It's all for a bag. Even if they say it's not for a bag, it's all for a bag. It's not that they're out there going like, oh, this is gonna get me paid. It's not that. It's that they just have bills to pay, and this is how they make their living. But if they stopped having certain, extremities of views, like if the level of intensity were to die down, they would start to lose those viewers, and therefore they would start to lose their way of life. And this is why I tend not to trust talking heads who make money doing what they do. Again, I'd probably be doing the same shit if I could make money doing it. And, maybe that's a thing that might come up at some point, and I wouldn't shy away from it. But it's also folly to think that their views are entirely objective and non-biased, including my own, if I was having the quality of life that people who tend to be financially successful tend to have. They're not evil. They're not bad actors. They're not being dishonest. They simply need to communicate a level of adherence to the values that they've said that got them the viewers in the first place in order to maintain those viewers. And that means sometimes sensationalizing. And the problem is that it can get out of hand. And I think that it gets out of hand, especially when we, like this guy, Pisco, says, well, what did you expect? What did you expect them to do? They're saying what? Oh, we have all this info on an Epstein conspiracy, and we, go get him, like release the files. First, yeah, sure, that would work as well. But you can't just do nothing, which is what Merrick Garland did. You can't just do nothing. You can actually go and follow up, just like this guy's saying, orgy boy.
That information and pursuing any found criminality. I mean, it literally can be that simple. You don't have to go. You don't have to turn around. Oh. Well, no, hold on. You don't have to turn around and basically say like, find the Trump dirt and process it and give it to me now. Everybody basically knew that.
Yeah, I don't think that the majority of people who wanted the files released were even saying that. Like, and he's saying that wasn't necessary. Like, nobody needs to actually say anything about like, oh, get us the Trump dirt. Right. That's not what it's about. It's about exonerating people who've been accused falsely, prosecuting people who've been credibly accused, and finally giving peace and justice to the victims. That's what it's about.
He was friends for a long.
And like, if you have people like these two pushing against that, well, what did you expect? Something. Anything other than nothing would have been better.
Long time. The idea that it has to be some sort of very illicit, get my political enemies taken care of thing. That's not. I don't think that's.
But that is what you're asking for, right? Like with a wink, wink, nod, nod. You want them to.
No, I want every last one of the Epstein billionaire class, regardless of whoever they're friends with. I want all those motherfuckers behind bars.
Well, first of all, these documents were sealed by the courts, is my understanding, through September 2024. Correct?
No, that's just a small clutch of them. I mean, the department.
Really?
It is, yes, yeah. I mean, it is a case that the DOJ could have released a lot of this information, but the truth is, like, that's not what they do. The Department of Justice is not just supposed to dig up embarrassing information, bad information, and release it generally. This is a matter of public interest, and now it's a political matter. I do want disclosure. And yes, Biden could have ordered his Department of Justice to like disclose a bunch of stuff. That is true. But the implication is he should have for purposes of damaging Trump politically, and that is improper.
What are the odds? What are the odds that Biden was even vaguely aware of the contents of like any of these Epstein files? Like, what are the odds that he was calling Merrick Garland and asking him for updates on individual prosecutions?
In the background,
like literally zero. So the idea that
can I jump in?
Again, that's
wait. Well, I want to say this because this is, I think, supporting maybe a little bit of your side of the argument. Sure, I'm not saying saying that they need to talk specifically with the DOJ and say, hey, do a hit piece on Donald Trump, a la impeachment 1. However, with how much Trump and the campaign is hyping this up as, I'm going to release Epstein files, Democrats are coming for your children, I think it's kind of weird that they didn't press this just as a talking point more. Just to say, hey, you were best friends with this guy. Hey, like, you're not press rate. Like, you
Yeah,
clearly
that's-
stepped back and said,
That's the fear of being implicated. That would be the fear of any of the people who are on the list in the flight logs and shit like that, credibly accused. That's them trying to divert attention. They don't want to go down with the ship, and that's really simply it. I mean, that's the reason why people who were in his circle who opposed him on some things, that's why they didn't like bring anything up, because it was just like, well, I don't want the target to go onto my forehead.
It's a different claim, but I'm saying, like, if we're going to criticize the Dems a little bit, which I'm always open to doing, I do think they should have pressed this issue a little harder, given how big of a platform it is for the Trump QAnon base to say, oh, we're coming after the pedos. The fact that clearly this is like the one thing that really has seemed to distance people from Trump. I think if you ever could divide MAGA, this is the closest we got. I think Democrats failed to capitalize on that during the election.
I mean,
I don't even agree with that.
True, I guess.
If Trump was able to hint and make innuendos about it in like the 2016 election, then it was very obvious that everybody else also knew about his connections to Epstein. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be a matter of political targeting or political assassination.
Yeah, for those who don't know about the Epstein stuff, he was being investigated for years and years. They have like a lot of the Epstein files are dossiers on just decades of shit that he did. Yeah, I mean, the government knew, but they were complicit. A lot of them were just part of it. And, that's pretty shitty. It's like, this is why I do the political and the religious stuff on different days, because I think it's funny how they intersect a lot. Like, MAGA is a cult, Christianity is a cult, and a lot of MAGA are Christian, and a lot of Christian are MAGA. And so it just kind of dovetails really nicely. It's both a desire for power, a overblown respect for those in power because you desire to be in power, a accountability towards some higher power or person in authority because you secretly desire that power. It all comes back to some very basic human shit. And one of our most baseline thought processes were in the very dawn of man was coveting other people's shit. Because to the hunter-gatherers, eating is a zero-sum game. If I don't get that buffalo, that other tribe's going to get that buffalo, and they're going to live, and we're going to die. So that's encoded into our brain. That is proof itself of evolution, because people still feel like coveting other people's shit. If you have respect that I don't get, I'm going to make sure to defame you and dehumanize you and marginalize you so that you don't get any more of that respect, so that I can get that respect. If you get that love that I'm not getting, then I'm going to make you seem like a fucking monster so that I can get that love that I haven't been getting, etc. and so on.
Or whatever, but it could have been something to
it's all
take away
corruption.
the,
It's all
the
like
fuel
some
that Trump would have had going into
shitty bullshit.
2024. Like
We got-
exactly what Soy is saying.
The only reason these files are released now is because Trump himself and his surrogates made this number one issue in the minds of voters. This is a
Dunbar's number. I've heard, this person's Dunbar index thing, but I don't think that I'm familiar with it. Cognitive limit of approximately 150 stable social relationships. Okay. Yeah. But how do they relate? The cord was stuck to my finger, and I got scared. It felt like a snake, like it was gonna bite me, like it was gonna inject some of its venom and cause my nerves to get all fried and stuff. Like a slithery, sneaky little snake. Oh, tribalism, okay. Yeah, I mean, that has to do with the otherism, and anxiety of outgroup outgroups. You remember that the guy that, I don't know if anyone was watching at that point, but it was the guy that I had my first debate with online in live real-time time. He pointed me to this study, Existential Threat and Responses to Emotional Displays of In-Group and Out-Group Members. And this has a lot to do with tribalism, because it very much is how it's broken up. I think we can probably just kind of take a look at the conclusion here. In the current set of studies, we investigated whether the emotional context in which people are threatened by the thought of their own mortality determines worldview defense or general affiliation tendency. Across studies, we found that in the context of anger displays, in-group attitudes become more positive and out-group derogation increase. Derogatory, when you make derogatory statements. Out-group derogation. Why make word hard? Why make word hard say? Huh? Me no like. And participants smiled more in response to outgroup happiness. Due to rather small effect sizes, we conclude that the current studies should be taken as preliminary evidence that displays of emotions influence whether relations between groups are more likely to deteriorate or improve when the mortality is salient. Weird. I actually didn't know that. I don't think that I ever read the conclusion of this. So if we were to be more friendly, then our fear and anxiety of outgroups would go away. I don't think that he had read the conclusion. Maybe this isn't the study. Because that feels like it just kind of proves my point, like crazy proves my point. I mean, I don't remember any of these links. Oh god, it's a PDF file! Everybody run! Caspian, run! Get it? Because I'm reading a PDF file. Do you get it? Do you get the joke? Do you get the joke I just made? I'm reading it's a PDF, and the joke that I made was that it's a PDF file. Do you get it? Do you get the joke I just made? Do you get it? It's right. It's in there. Do you get it? It's a good joke. It's a good joke. You should get it. You should try to get it. It's a good joke. Adobe was mentioned on the flight logs. I'll leave you with that. I'll leave that thread hanging. You can take that however you want. But Adobe, not like the founders or the workers there, but Adobe as the entity itself was on the flight logs. I don't know how you fit a concept onto a plane. But if you can fit it into a brain, you can fit it on a plane, as I always say. I'm sure that you know my trademark phrase. If it can fit into a plane, it can fit on my... Nope. If it can fit on my brain, it can fit into a plane. I think I probably have that on a shirt somewhere. Written in Welsh. Or Gaelic. One of the two. Or both. Welsh on the front, Gaelic on the back. You know? Why the hell not? Why not just go crazy? Why not just go ridiculous nuts? Huh? Why the heck not? Anywho, I'm not going to read one of these boring-ass studies. The whole point to what the study says is other groups, so like white people versus black people, rich people versus poor people, other groups being incorporated into an in-group, that's just the group that your POV is in, increases anxiety and fear of things like increased crime, violence, things like that. It's not good science, or at least it's not good science to say that this means that races should be separate. It is, however, good science to say that acceptance and emotional cues are what define how those interactions go. There you go.
The monster of their own creating, and we're kind of
I'm not
diving.
disagreeing with you,
I
but
don't
that's
know.
the
Just
point.
let me
Like, that could have
hold
been
on.
something that the Dems pushed.
Okay, hold on. So we touched on this last week, but I think that if you are interested in upholding what I believe to be like really important principles of this democracy, then I think it's a good thing that it probably didn't even occur to Biden or Merrick Garland to act in a way that would have been explicitly, overtly corrupt. The idea that we would selectively release documents pertaining to some kind of investigation that did not result in criminal charges. You say what you want about like everybody that was involved in that case, but I think it's a good thing that in this country, if the DOJ investigates you and they don't find enough evidence sufficient to charge you with a crime, they don't make it a habit of going out there and saying, well, we're going to release this information to the public anyways for like political gain. As soon as you start advocating for this to be the standard,
It's the only dance I know how to do is the robot.
Like, I just feel like you're hastening the demise of the republic by doing this.
Hutch. Did you just fucking say hastening? That's like when Giada De Laurentiis overpronounces mozzarella. I just wanted to let you all know that I'm Italian, okay? Parmigiano. Or it's like, I guess, when white people go, when will you enjoy my hard work? When? Where? Who? What?
Not to mention, I don't think it is this political benefit that Soypol is really talking about there. A, I don't really believe this was a major campaign issue. It was a major campaign promise to stir up the crazies in the MAGA sphere, but I don't.
Oh my god. Like, I can guarantee you, if the full unredacted Epstein report had come out before the election, it probably would have lost Trump the office. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what the fuck? Like, how would it wouldn't have had any impact? Huh?
Think that a focus on Epstein was, or a lack of focus on Epstein was why a significant reason why Kamala lost the election.
Okay, those are two unrelated things. I guess not unrelated, but those are two different things. You're saying two different things there. You're saying that I don't think, or I guess it seems like you're saying I don't think that releasing the Epstein files would have had any impact on Donald Trump's election. And then you say right now that, what was it? I don't think that not releasing them is what lost Kamala the election. Those are two different issues. What you're saying are two different things at that point. It certainly would have lost Trump the election. Whether that means that Biden would have been voted in or Kamala would have been voted in, that none of that shit matters. That has nothing to do with the argument. The argument is that releasing the unredacted Epstein files in that election cycle would have perhaps lost Trump the election. That's their point. That is the point that's being made.
You have to imagine, right? You have to think about it.
But then he says, but I don't think not releasing them.
Really believe this was a major campaign issue. It was a major campaign promise to stir up the crazies in the MAGA sphere, but I don't think that a focus on Epstein was, or a lack of focus on Epstein was why.
And then he changes it. He changes his argument. That's called moving the goalposts. But I don't think a lack of releasing the Epstein files is what lost.
The reason why Kamala lost the election.
Kamala
And two,
lost the
you have to imagine.
See what I'm saying? Nika Teal, interesting last name. Epstein had a small wee-wee. Probably. I wouldn't know. And liked hairy men poo. Weird. Because he was a gay lord. Is that a title? Is that a job title? Or is that a profession? Or is that like something that you would call yourself in a authoritative manner, perhaps? Behold my power, for I am the Gay Lord. Or do you remember Workaholics? The Gay Lord's Force? Pretty cool. Pretty gosh darn cool.
Right? You have to think about it. These people don't trust the Department of Justice in any respect. They are now in control of the Department of Justice. They have their people, Kash Patel, etc., who was at least in the helm of one of the major investigatory units, and they have,
Well, no, that would be interesting. If it was a hairy poo, it means you've consumed quite a bit of a hair.
their president
Is my
occupying
assumption.
the Oval Office, and they don't trust half of these disclosures coming out of the.
Oh yeah,
Department of
Caspian,
Justice.
have
So
a
to the
good
extent
woman.
that anyone's major issue,
Enjoy your
Jeffrey
day.
Epstein, you are not going to capitalize on that by putting out releases of documents, which are going to necessarily be taken as incomplete from the perspective of those people.
Real quick, Pisco, wait, Pisco, I need to address Pisco because I think you misconstrued what I said. I'm not saying this was a major platform that the Democrats should have run on. I'm saying rhetorically, you could have used this to divide and have less turnout for the MAGA base by pointing out this and like making this talking point, making them focus on like, hey, you're calling me a groomer, like you're best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, like that's it.
I agree. That promise. I'm not so sure the vulnerability existed as in 2024, but you guys probably.
Also, there's a distinct possibility that doing the Jennifer Welsh, / Mehdi Hassan strat could have easily blown up in their faces and made Trump a martyr to normies, because they would have come out and they would have correctly said the FBI, or the DOJ, who has a strict policy of keeping this kind of information private, decided right before an election to release a bunch of evidence that all it is just hearsay and there's no and the blah blah blah, and they could have easily capitalized on that and correctly pointed out, I might add, that this would have been insanely corrupt for them to do.
You don't have to look at it exclusively through the lens of like, well, lefty, you don't like had this particular take on it. There's ways to take their existing. Well, that's why you brought it up. The flowchart shit that I've had it in Mehdi Hassan are doing. The idea being is that you could take somebody else's idea and figure out a way to make it a little bit better. You don't have to make it a targeted thing, like I said.
Make it better.
It could be just purely from the perspective of wanting to see abject criminality be pursued.
That's why we have a DOJ. That's why we have a DOJ.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's some nuance to that. It's not necessarily as cut and dry as saying like, I mean, I know I've said that numerous times in the last hour even. You could have done something. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there is a coalition of people who can get together, who can come up with the best way to handle this shit. I don't think that people that we should like take up arms and go and exercise the Second Amendment. Like, I'm saying that we should make a coalition and we should have like people get together and I mean, before the bad shit happens, before the Nazis start marching through the streets. Of course, ICE is already among us, so maybe it's too late.
You don't release it to the public to establish criminality. You have a DOJ investigation.
Do you think there would have been any merit to or interest to the public to finally maybe say one day release the information related to the JFK?
Do you really think that people would have figured out? Do you think that people would not have figured out that you were doing it for political reasons? You really don't think they would have connected those dots?
So
they would have been like, oh, we're just trying to help solve crime.
It would be political. But Ogre's saying, isn't there a public interest sometimes in releasing investigations? Yes, sometimes there is. Yes, sometimes there's an interest in public releases of information. No doubt about that. But part of that public interest now is in correcting a lot of misinformation that occurred. And again, you're speaking about the context of an election season. What's the rush in that respect? What's the rush in that respect? You talk about abject criminality.
What's the rush? To anyone who's ever had to endure a rape kit or had to be the victim of sexual abuse or molestation or anything like that, I apologize on behalf of this guy. I think when horrible crimes are perpetrated against someone, the first instinct is to want as immediate a response as humanly possible. And the files being redacted on some politician's desk do not equate action. And those victims, they need justice. They want justice. And so it behooves us as a nation that takes care of its people to exercise justice and to be the person on the front lines, stepping in front of that person who had to endure that torture and saying, we got it from here. We're going to bring these people to justice. We're going to get you the closure that you deserve. Someone saying, what's the rush, smacks of being out of touch. Just a little bit.
Year one.
Abject criminality. Where is your evidence that the Department of Justice under Biden wasn't investigating this as crimes? You are undermining the possibility of criminal charges by doing document dumps to the general public.
Yes.
Do you understand that? This is undermining the potentiality for good criminal.
Tainting a jury is one thing, but taking a look at the credible evidence and leaving a lot of it to the court of public opinion is a good way to influence the decision of a judge or a court. If they know that they have public support behind the decision that they need to make, then maybe they would be less afraid of retaliation from a corrupt administration or actual death with these political assassinations. Public support can do a lot for a matter or like an issue in society, and I don't think that leaking government documents is necessarily a good thing. But when nobody else will listen, it's like people that have opinions against protesting. It's like, how do you think that we got to this point? There was obviously, they're like, why don't you people like go and get jobs? Why don't you people like get off the street and stop disrupting my day and infringing on my rights? Oh man, like, God, you guys are just so shitty all the time. Why do you gotta be out here protesting? And the very, very simple fucking answer is that because nobody will listen. Is because the government won't do something to rectify this mistake. And so we wrote our congressman. We went to the city council meetings. We wrote the letters. We made the flyers. We organized a fucking protest. It all got to that point somehow. And when you start going down the list of amendments, that's when shit starts getting real. It's because shit has already been real. The reason why we don't do illegal search and seizures, or at least we're not supposed to, is because the fucking quarter general's men would serve warrants by knocking their boot into the door and kicking it open and dragging the people inside out to find whoever their man was. Amendment 4 was like, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and we'll put that in right now. Fucking Amendment 2 was meant for when the government gets corrupt. And you did the other amendment that says you can vote out a person for poor mental health, and that didn't work. Or that, you do due process, and that didn't work. That's what it's for. It's for when all that other shit fails. Because that means a government is now tyrannical. Because it will not listen to all the other rules it fucking wrote.
Investigations. Witnesses are going to go.
So yes, at some point, when nobody fucking listens to you and you've got the documents, at some point you're going to leak them. And that will be a better move than waiting so that the victims get doxxed at least 3 times, so that the media, who is implicit in the accusations in the report, can cover it up or divert public attention, so that the presidential administration can wag the fucking dog and orchestrate coups and takeovers and distract people from everything that's going on. It blows one's mind. This sounds kind of like Shakira, like an elevator music version of Shakira. I am really losing my voice. I would like to not lose my voice. That would be great. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Just don't lose your voice. Just have a unlost voice. It's been going on for like a month now. I wish I would just like get sick so I can get over it. Anywho, it gets out of hand. None of this is really like worth watching the whole way through. It's kind of if you were there and you saw it, then cool sort of thing. But
moment, you're kind of acting as
otherwise,
though
it's pretty boring.
Question, bro. Come on, what are you doing here? I'm just asking a simple question. Why did she? Why did
like watching mind games? And
this is where I started watching it. So let me rewind just a bit.
I actually didn't say moral imperative in relation to her, but
yes, you did.
I'll be right back. I'm going to use the restroom.
But I'll go ahead and kind of say that I think she did. Yes, I think that any candidate should have a moral imperative to.
Okay, all right. So she had a moral imperative, right?
Get our funding out of the fucking genocide. Yes.
No. I'm saying she had a moral imperative to do everything she could to beat Donald Trump. Do you agree with that?
She would have.
I understand that. You keep going to that topic. I'm just asking you in generalities.
He said yes. The moral imperative that performing this action would have won her the election. I believe that, and I can explain why.
No, I'm past. Okay, listen. Why did she have a moral imperative to beat Donald Trump? Specifically Donald Trump.
Dude, I don't know where you're going with this. This is
just walk with me.
You're in this moment. You're kind of acting as though.
Why won't you answer my question, bro? Come on. What are you doing here? I'm just asking a simple question. Why did she?
Why did mind games? And you're not accepting the simple like fact that.
Okay, let me jump to the point. I just spare me, please. I just want to get. I've been very patient. You guys have been speaking. You're not engaging with me in good faith. I'm asking you good faith questions.
Just let him go.
You're not engaging with my questions. You don't want to do it. Fine. I'll just arrive at the point. You did say that she had a moral imperative to do everything that she could to beat Donald Trump.
Yes.
I agree. I think the reason why she had a moral imperative was because Donald Trump is uniquely dangerous, and him ascending to the office of the presidency was inevitably going to lead to mass suffering. Okay. What I put to you right now is that it's not the moral imperative does not just rest with politicians. We are a democracy. We have a vote, and people with positions of influence, like politicians or even influencers, they also have a
voters.
They also have a moral imperative if they care about these issues and can see Trump for what he is, to do everything that they could to prevent that from happening.
I saw a thing with a guy saying that all the people getting sick recently, etc., is some government conspiracy. I guess he had never heard of winter. Well, also, if you think about it, and this I don't know if it lends credibility to what that person's saying, but there's also, the heavy protesting and the munitions being fired are that of a chemical nature. And though I don't live in downtown, the winds can carry that kind of stuff like miles and miles and miles. I don't know if that's a thing, but I did feel like I had been maced for quite a while. The pain in my sinuses makes it feel like, I don't know if you've ever cooked chilies in a pan or whatever, but when those essential oils aerosolize and you breathe them in, it burns your nostrils or it burns your sinuses. That's how they feel. They feel like they've got capsaicin in them. So yeah, I don't know if that's true or a thing, but it is just winter. I mean, it is easier to get sick right now. But people will turn pretty much anything into a conspiracy just to feel special. That's just people in general, man. We can't stop them from being people. Which feels weird because the topic is, shouldn't MAGA be really upset? We'll just go to this because we've been covering this for about an hour and a half now, and I don't want to do what I did on Monday and just, was it Monday? I don't want to do what I did on Thursday and just get caught up in this for 3 hours. The gist is that if I have a statement to make to Hutch, dear Hutch, from one fellow old man to another, I'm not bald though. I choose to have short hair, but I'm not bald. It should be rich versus poor. It should be people who have the opportunity and resources to buy their lifestyle versus people who do not. And I hate to just boil it down to something so simple, but I think that people who even have the opportunity to be well known and be well liked and to get paid to express their opinion on the internet can have a standard of life that pushes them too far towards objectiveness, towards objectivity, towards having a status of not necessarily fence sitting, because I see the support, in your live streams and in your content, for those who cannot protect themselves. But you also have a survival imperative to do so. And when your bills depend on the things you say, and you have a certain standard of life that cannot be jeopardized, then it's going to push you more towards conservative views or conservative opinions. What would be argued to be conservative views or opinions, not that is your overall stance, not that is the way that you conduct yourself, but it is a deviation from the stuff that I saw back in the day. That's all. Not even really good or bad. Just an observation, I guess. All right, so we can be done with that. Now, moving on. I don't know if it needs to be spelled out. This man's a Nazi. Like, just plain and simple. And I know that a lot of people who come into the YouTube chat have expressed their support for Nick Fuentes, but that doesn't make him a good person. Even somebody being popular doesn't make him a good person. Trump being popular doesn't make him a good person. But, I don't know. I think that there are plenty of people out there who don't know necessarily that people are being racist or phobic or whatever, and thus still support them. There are people who do know and don't care. There are people who do know and are just trying to take advantage of it to get a bag. You know, there's all kinds of people out there. And you can do evil shit, even if you're not necessarily at your core evil. I guess that kind of just is a feedback loop, kind of makes you evil, but I guess you can be evil before the fact and you can be evil after the fact.
And we would live in paradise.
But that's a choice that people make.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to
I love
shut
that
the
he's reacting
up.
to himself.
Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what you meant then?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything.
So, just in case you missed that, he's saying that, well, he initially said that all black people need to be imprisoned. I mean, we've been there, done that as a society, right? Like, shouldn't we be done? I mean, the Bible supports slavery. So, perhaps Christians might not have the best insight. But, I don't know, I feel like...
Everything I said in that clip is true.
Why support that guy?
Hello and welcome to the Daily Dose, where I, Joshua Hames, bring you Christian conservative.
Oh boy. And this Hitler Youth is a supposedly a pastor, but also said that he hadn't pastored for a long time. So maybe he was a youth pastor, former youth pastor, which means statistically speaking, he's probably touched a child in an inappropriate manner.
Jews are running the world. Blacks should be in
Just stop there, Queen. Say no more. I'm pretty sure that's your entire point.
prison for the most part, and women should shut up. These are the opinions of Nicholas J. Fuentes, and needless to say, yesterday on his interview with Piers Morgan here, Piers didn't like those opinions. He was quite triggered by those opinions, and I am going to weigh in.
So, the term triggered, if you're not familiar, is typically used to signal leftist outrage, but really triggered means that you are experiencing trauma. So if you experience trauma like someone was racist towards you and said the hard R N-word, and, it gave you thoughts of ending yourself, then that would be trauma that you experienced. And therefore, someone offhandedly saying the N-word to somebody else in a video could be triggering because it triggers your trauma. That's all triggered means. But people like to use it, again, as a cudgel.
On my thoughts on Nick Fuentes.
This man's a Christian. This man here is a Christian. He's a pastor.
Interview his opinions on those matters. But first, let's just jump into the interview itself, and I'll give you my thoughts as we go. How's that sound?
Okay. I want to come to...
He also looks to be high on cocaine. I can only speak about this as a former addict myself, but look at his jaw.
Piers Morgan here. Piers didn't like those opinions.
Did you see that? Did you catch that?
He was quite triggered by those opinions, and I am going to weigh in on my thoughts on Nick Fuentes, this interview, his opinions on those matters. But first, let's just jump into the interview.
See that jaw? See that? How it goes like that? He's fiending.
And I'll give you my thoughts as we go. How's that?
See? Oh! Did you see that? Right there.
And I'll give you my thoughts as we go. How's that?
Yep. Oh! Did you see that? Did you see his jaw? He juts it out. And I'll give you my thoughts as we go along. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been to Coachella. Slight brag. Yes, I've been to Coachella. I saw Cigaros at sunset. Oh! It was the same show that Tool and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs were at. Oh! Anyway, one of my favorite bands is a band called Deerhoof. If you haven't checked them out, please do so. They're pretty good. when they were on stage, the guitarist was very high on cocaine. And if you've never seen it before, there's this thing that's like an almost involuntary, it comes from like your jaw being numb and like your sinuses being numb. Like you go like this, you try to make sure that your jaw's still there. It's like that. Like you move it forward. It's like a chewing motion, kind of. That's why you see people who are blitzed out of their fucking mind on cocaine are always like, yeah, maybe we should like write a screenplay together or something. Maybe we should ooh, okay, I got a zombie picture in me. I could do like a superhero sort of thing. Yeah, that's being real high on cocaine. Again, I can only speak on that, being a former addict myself.
Those matters. But first, let's just jump into the interview itself, and I'll give you my thoughts as we go. How's that sound?
Okay. I want to come to
Thoughts as
something
we
else you said.
go.
This is where you talked about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's take a listen.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not.
Look at him fucking lighting up a fucking stogie. Ugh. Smoke weed, you goddamn pervert. Give me give me a sec. I'm gonna get some more water. I'll let it play.
The Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually
pervert!
really complicated. No, it isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the f up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
What, all of them?
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime, so maybe let's say that, 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murdered people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
If you didn't say that, you just said blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Do you think it's funny? Or
Yeah, I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
do you think a black American would find it funny? Do you think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes.
Come on, man.
About black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Do you think it's funny? Or
Yeah, I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
do you think a black American would find it funny? Do you think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time.
Is that a yes?
And they say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me. And you want to know why? Here's the difference.
Is that a yes? Is that a yes or a no? I don't. I think what he's saying is that black people agree with me that black people should be imprisoned for the most part. The only reason he said for the most part is because he knew it would get him kicked off the show if he didn't. Like, what the fudgeronies, you know?
Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood, in the ghetto, and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago.
Jesus,
Chicago,
dude.
we could go to Garfield Park. We could go to
Jesus, dude. Like, how often do you hear people just saying all the shit that people on Facebook say? Or I guess Twitter or whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Is this guy a good Christian? I think that's a more important question to ask. Is this person a good Christian? Is they or are they? One doesn't know. One can never know. If you're just joining, thank you very much. There's some mad sax going on. It's the bossa nova. It's that feeling, I guess. Daily chill groove. This isn't copyright free though. Church. Church. Why not this stuff? Beats. Lo-fi beats. Beats.
University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago in Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay, so what was, just remind me again, the percentage of...
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. So he gish gallops, he does these things where he just kind of says shit out of the corner of his mouth, like assuming that everybody knows what it is. Like, just fucking...
Chicago University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago in Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go look.
Chicago's bad, and black people only live in the bad Chicago.
Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most...
Black people, in general, are tired of poor black people living in a part of Chicago.
But a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why
A lot of them agree with what I say, which is black people should be imprisoned.
First thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go...
And that's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is move to another neighborhood.
Oh, and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay, so what... Just remind me again, the percentage...
As if resettling isn't a thing. As if you don't just, like, move to better areas with, you know, more money in your wallet. Like that, everybody does that. Every single person ever does it. That's just crazy. It's just crazy to assume that that's just something black people do. Black people are tired of being represented poorly. Okay. I'm sure that that is a pretty common sentiment in the black community.
Of black men who commit murder in America. What was the percentage you gave me?
It's 1 in 20. 1 in 20.
It's 1 in 100.
No, it's 1 in 20.
No. Less than 1 in 100 black US men commit murder. That's the most up to date.
It's a pretty stark statistic. When I see someone who's white trash, it upsets me. Are you talking about Nick Fuentes? Or are you talking about just in general white trash? Or are you calling me white trash?
I've seen other statistics. They say 1 in 20 will eventually commit murder. Now,
what? 1 in 20, just black people. He didn't put a caveat on it. He said just 1 in 20. Black people will eventually commit murder. That's what he says. 1 in 20 black people will eventually commit murder. I just don't get it. That is just insane. That is one of the most insane things I've ever heard.
I'm gonna do my own fact checking with Grok, so it might be wrong. But whenever I ask Grok and other AI models, it was actually 1 in 200 black people in America.
It's about 1 in 100, as of the last big report came out in 2019 from the FBI, I believe. It was about 1 in 100, and the majority, it was like 64% white men. Vlad, how's it going? Vlad the Russian. Don't know why I didn't just read the text that was on the screen there, you know?
Will commit a murder in their lifetime. Juxtapose that to 1 in about 4,000 white people will commit murder.
Oh, fuck. Okay, that is an incorrect statistic. Oh my god. So you say the real statistic and then you just make something up completely. I don't know what the fuck Grok was telling you, but the percentage doesn't just go all the way up to 4,000. It goes, what is this about? We're talking about, I'm asking Christians, if you happen to be Christian, welcome. I'm asking Christians if this guy is a good Christian. Do you believe that this guy is a good Christian? That's what we're talking about. So we're gonna listen to him for a bit. And I can't do the thing, but I'm supposed to, on days that I do this, I'm supposed to like shriek because that's the title of the stream, but I can't do it because I'm losing my voice because I'm getting sick. But it's supposed to be a shriek. All A's. Ask an atheist anything. I don't know. I thought it was fun. But yeah, you can also feel free to ask me anything about religion or atheism or, you know, whatever, and we can get to the answers together. But that's what this is all about. We're just hanging out, having fun, talking to each other about whether these guys are good Christians.
Disparity there, and that's really at the crux of what they're talking about is the disparity, like the
I'm Orthodox, sir. Hang on one second. Let me see if my dog needs to go out. Never mind, the door is already open. I guess I preempted myself. Past me was like, I know that future me is going to need to get up and check to make sure that she doesn't need to go out. And I did it. So Orthodox, I don't know much. Do you follow the Bible? Are you into the New Testament or the Old Testament or any of that stuff? And what's your opinion? Does this guy seem like a good Christian?
problem. There's clearly a problem in ghetto black culture that is cultivating and fostering violence, and that's really the crux of what they're talking about here. And Nick just doesn't care if he offends people. He doesn't care if he steps on toes when he talks about the crime statistics. And Piers is... The
statistics that he's talking about are incorrect. I don't know where he came up with his numbers, but it's not that Nick Fuentes is unafraid of offending people. It's that he goes out of his way to demonize entire communities of people. Saying that the Jews run everything? Like, dude. Straight up Hitler shit. Straight up Hitler shit.
He's a boomer. He is captured by what I would call the post-war consensus. I'll do a whole episode on the post-war consensus in the future. So for him, being called racist
Pierce?
is the worst possible thing a person can be called. So even being thought of as being racist is absolutely the worst thing that can happen. And so his spidey senses are just constantly tingling around Nick because Nick doesn't care. Nick, he is post-liberal in his thinking. He does not care if he's called racist. He's going to say things straight up like he sees them. He doesn't care if he offends. Doesn't care if anyone thinks he's racist. Now,
It's not doesn't care if anyone thinks he's racist. It's he doesn't care if he is being racist. There's a bit of a difference. You see how this fucking slimy snake oil salesman is like trying to scam his way into credibility by saying like, oh, it's not this thing, it's this other remarkably similar thing. What a bad Christian. But that would typically only be, I think I'm a good person, sir. I didn't ask if you were a good person or not. I asked if you think this person's a good Christian. I'm glad that you think you're a good person. I know that I'm a good person.
Being much more precise in his language. Him saying blacks need to be in prison for the most part, that's a ridiculous thing to say. It's ridiculous. If you want to say black criminals need to be in prison, yeah, that's great. That's great. But the majority of black people aren't criminals. The majority of black people are actually not violent.
So he feels as though he needs to distance himself from Nick Fuentes' opinion, even though he shares Nick Fuentes' opinion. I wonder why that is. Could it be because he needs to move beyond 32.2 thousand subscribers, and he's trying desperately to garner as much support as possible? Perhaps. But one would call that pandering now, sir, now wouldn't it? How dare you?
It is a minority of violent blacks that need to be in prison, right?
Now that's an interesting way that he chose to say that. One could think from the surface, oh, he's just saying something about violent black people. Only that one small segment. But when we are talking about all of black people in general, and then he says that it is a very small minority of the violent blacks, I think that's hard to misconstrue.
And so it's not the majority of black people that need to be in prison. So that's true. And it's also true that black people commit an inordinate amount of violent crime relative to their population size.
And there's that old statistic. If you adjust for population size, it all that means is that if you reduce the overall population, if you reduce it to their specific segments, that they are more responsible for crime in general, or I guess violent crime, or whatever. The statistics will skew when you limit the sample size. And that's exactly what's happening here. This is not about facts, it's about propaganda.
So both of those things are true. Yes, there are a lot of black criminals, much more per capita than, let's say, white criminals, right?
Right. Why do you think people say that? Why do you think people say per capita? Why is that? I'll let you guys guess. Just give me one guess. Just one little guess. I'll entertain any guess.
Much more, but the majority of black people are still not violent offenders. They're still not criminals. So we need to be able to talk through these things and have just a touch of nuance, because when someone hears Nick say black people need to be in prison for the most part, that's just false. It's just not a true thing, right? And so it becomes totally unhelpful. People tune him out because he said a thing that's just not true. It's objectively not true. But on this issue, he's right in the substance of the matter, but his rhetoric is totally unhelpful in my opinion.
Rate means that you're saying that 5 times as many black men commit murder as the official crime statistics say.
Yeah, there's a report, I believe, on X by Data Hazard. I'll have to go and double check that for you. But yes, there's some pretty shocking evidence that says that it's far more alarming than you would think.
Okay, but you would accept
X.
the official crime statistics 100, or you wouldn't accept that statistic?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but I've seen other evidence. Like I said, Data Hazard on X, I believe, produced a report about a year ago. It said 1 in 20. But I mean, whether it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 100, that's a lot of people, Piers. I mean,
Sure, a lot of white people commit murder too. People do,
okay, but it's about proportionality. I mean, white people are 65%.
Oh my god, dude. He specifically misses the point. That's on purpose. He's talking about proportionality, and then he says, "Oh, but the sample size is black people." Just so dishonest. Oh, I got sacrificed a bunch of Keith there.
The population, blacks are 13%, and I think anybody would tell you that more black people proportionally commit
Right.
crime than
If
white
you
people.
section out those communities, it's going to seem like a lot higher of a number.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you look at in Chicago, in New York, these neighborhoods are so stratified. People would rather pay a high tax rate. They'd rather pay a much higher property value to live in a less diverse, less black neighborhood because they don't want to live around the violence.
No. The communities are only violent because you make it that way. Because the racism did that in the first place. Redlining did that. Fucking the war on drugs did that. Stop and frisk did that. All of that shit pushed impoverished people who are already impoverished into more impoverished areas and increased the likelihood that violent crime was going to happen, especially by the police presence, especially by the militarized police presence.
I think that when you look at
Bullshit.
even on the public transit, the subway, the blue line, you know, people don't want to go there because they know who occupies and menaces the public transit. It is these people like Daniel Penny had to deal with.
It's only black people, apparently. Only black people that ride the subway. How out of touch bumpkin fucking racist can you be?
It's people like Irina Zarutska had to deal with, and that's just the uncomfortable reality.
You've also said you don't want to live near black people. Let's take a listen to this.
I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry. You know, I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry.
What the fuck?
And call me racist? Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it couldn't be clearer, really. Unless you want to say that's another of your jokes, but you're basically saying, yeah, I'm a racist, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're fine with saying you're a racist?
Totally. I think everybody's racist. I think everybody's racist.
So therefore, if I say that everyone is a racist, therefore no one's racist. Fuck you. No, nobody's born racist. You are made racist by, you know, the nature of the people around you. You're made racist by your communities. Jesus. Super mega butt fuck. Super mega butt fuck? Now that would be a good time.
Racist. I think everybody, the only people that aren't racist or pretend not to be are white people to their detriment. Everybody else is racist.
Right. So now he reverses it. So all the sociology studies, all the major demographical studies, all the statistics that say that white people are the perpetrators of more racism, that they are predominantly the ones who enslave people. Therefore, it is almost impossible to be racist against a white person, unless you are, I guess, other white people. But like, even then, like, that's more over religion, isn't it? Even then, I think that it's crazy. It is just insano cuckoo pants to, for one moment, suggest that white people are the least racist. That there's one race that's not racist. Those are his words. Oh, there's one race that's not racist, and if anything, it's white people. What the fuck?
You really got to agree that the idea that your father was a racist. You wanted to make him.
Yeah, because
he's not.
Because my father doesn't share my same views on that.
So he's the exception. So everyone's a racist.
Well, everybody's a little bit racist. You're right. So maybe everybody. The difference is you're attacking my father. You know,
I'm not attacking your father. I'm not attacking your father.
You are.
No, I don't know your father. And to be clear, I have no knowledge about him at all.
Well, then let's leave him out of it. Let's leave him out of it if you don't know.
Hang on, Nick. You put that story into the public domain on your show. I'm simply reminding you of what you told everybody. Millions of people.
Yeah, for real.
If you now want to retract it, fine. If you want to say,
I'm sorry you don't like your words being brought
I'm
up.
allowed to put to you things you said publicly. That's not unfair. That's not me targeting your father. You put that story about him.
You know what you're doing. You know.
See, this is the kind of infighting I can really get behind. You know, when it's a sensationalist piece of shit versus a Nazi. I really like that kind of debate. But what we're actually trying to discuss is this guy a good Christian? So I'm just going to go to his next. There we go. Now watch his jaw.
But if I then ask you about it, I'm the one who's being unfair and I've crossed the line. Is that what you're
He's
saying?
clearly high on cocaine.
Okay, I've got thoughts on this. So I think on the black crime statistics section of this interview, we got to some of it. I think there's going to be some more coming up. I think Nick gets the better of Pierce, but I think in this
So, if you're Christian, would you support Nick Fuentes? If you're a Christian, would you support Nick Fuentes? Again, I will levy that question one more time. I'll even put it as a poll. If you're a Christian, would you support Nick Fuentes? If you are a Christian, do you consider yourself a Christian? If you're a Christian, if the answer is yes to that, would you support Nick Fuentes? Very simple question.
interaction with regard to whether or not Nick's father is racist and what Nick thinks about racism, I think Pierce really did get the better of Nick here because Nick was getting offended that he would bring up his father, but the problem is Nick is the one who brought his father up to begin with. He's the one who shared that story on his show. And once you are the person, once you bring it up and you put it out into the ether, you bring it up on the internet for millions of people, you have no control over their opinions, other people forming opinions about that, and then bringing that up in discussion. You're the one who brought it up. Okay, so I actually do think it's totally fair. It's a totally fair line of questioning for Pierce to bring up. Now, I disagree with Pierce's framing. Right, they're talking about two different things. When they're talking about racism, they mean different things. Like, whenever Nick is saying that everybody's a little bit racist, what he means is everybody prefers their own people. And that is true. Like, everybody has a general...
So, again, if you're a Christian, would you glaze Nick Fuentes like this? Would you say, oh, well, you know, I think he's got a really good point there. When he says, oh, yeah, I'm racist. Everyone's a little racist. Do you consider yourself racist? Just you, Johnny Public, John Everyman Public, who randomly swiped in on this video. Do you consider yourself to be racist? I wouldn't consider myself to be racist. But would you label yourself as racist? I would love to know, because Nick Fuentes apparently thinks that everybody's at least a little racist. Is it possible that we have preconceived biases and that we can fall victim to notions of stereotypes? Yeah, but the thing that marks a good person is when they can change in the light of that. When you realize that you're doing something wrong and when you can change. No, everyone is not racist, Lynn. Jesus fucking Christ. Nobody's born with racial biases in any way, shape, or form. It's all a product of where you were brought up. And if you think everyone's racist, it's probably because you fucking surrounded yourself with racists. My God. You know that you can choose who you hang out with, right? You can choose the views you have. And if you think that any race is subhuman compared to white people, you're racist. And no. Just to repeat myself, no one is just racist. No one's just like, not everyone is racist. There are people who lead their entire lives not being racist. Jesus said, love thy enemy. As long as thy enemy isn't gay, trans, in some cases black, in some cases slaves, in some cases virgin women, in some cases kids who make fun of bald men, or the world twice. So love everyone but those things. Jesus also said a lot of shit that just kind of reinforces a lot of his dad's old rageful habits, like keeping slaves.
And that's why, let's say,
I am a slave. Do they give you internet access as part of that arrangement? That'd be cool. Saying please send help reminded me of this really funny marquee on a theater in South Portland. It just says the name of the movie, Send Help, but it just looks like the theater's been kidnapped. Like, it's really funny. I wish I took a picture, but it's just a marquee on a theater that says Send Help. And then it says the times of the movie, but it says like Send Help, but only during these hours. Fucking Christ. So good. So good. Oh, this guy, he's Hitler Youth. Or, a youth pastor. Hey! Don't knock on the window, guys. You're gonna blast that thing out. She smacks on the window, and she's like a 35-pound dog. Shouldn't be doing that. Not cool. But yeah, he's a more or less a Nazi.
Interracial marriages
Talks about
so
ethno-nationalism quite often.
Generally speaking, when it comes to choosing a spouse, people are going to choose someone within their own people. Within their own race, within their own ethnicity. And that's normal. That's a normal thing. And that's not bad. And so, in fact, it's very strange. Like, white people are the only people today who are guilted for feeling that way. Like, that they're only attracted and they only want to, like...
Being insular is one thing. Being really well ingrained in your social circle, being really socially, aware of the people around you and getting to know your friends and family and your loved ones, that's all like one thing. That's one thing. Being cultural is one thing. Immersing yourself in your own culture, totally fine. But saying that that having a racial preference is totally common and natural is just incorrect. Do you think Nick is Caucasian? I'm pretty sure Nick, his family's Cuban? I'm not sure. But Fuentes is a pretty good indicator that he's not Caucasian. Entirely, at least.
Nick was saying he wants to only marry a white woman. So that's not problematic at all. It's not problematic at all. We're allowed to have preferences, yes. So they're kind of speaking past each other. Whenever Piers is talking about the word racism, he's talking about an irrational hatred of somebody based solely on the color of their skin. And that's never what Nick means whenever he's talking.
Yes, it does. Very much so. Very much so. It's exactly what Nick means. There's really no other way to quantify that. Really, just that's exactly what he means. And sure, he's saying it in a tongue-in-cheek way to trigger the libs, but he really means it. He really does. He met with fucking Donald Trump. He's not a media figure. At least he wasn't before he did that. He was simply a person who spoke Nazi slogans at city council meetings. Ain't no thing but a racist thing.
About quote-unquote racism. So it's a problem with defining terms. It's also a problem with the fact that word has become useless, as I was mentioning earlier. So anyway, let's keep going here.
That's fine.
In 1 Timothy 4:8, the Apostle Paul tells us that physical training is indeed valuable for the Christian life. And while physical fitness is not the most important thing in the Christian
And then he starts working on his prosperity gospel.
life, it is still of great importance, particularly...
He uses the Bible to make money. Isn't that something that is specifically against Christianity? If any of you are Christian, feel free to weigh in. Isn't that something that is specifically anti-Christian, using the Bible to make money?
For men. Why? Because God has called you to protect and to provide. Men,
Pretty
you
sure.
are called to be protectors. Therefore, God is calling you to be strong, spiritually, emotionally, and yes, even physically. Physical fitness is also important because God has called you to provide. Your family needs you to live a long, healthy life.
LMAO, fuck this neo-Nazi Sim Fuentes. For fuck's sake, his last name is Fuentes. Yeah, you would think he would be more socially conscious.
So, get strong and stay fit.
You would think.
Athos. They are a Christian fitness company that uses some of the best...
Oh, he wasn't just saying that you guys need to be healthy. He was saying you guys need to be healthy with my fucking placebos. Sounds like a prosperity gospel to me.
Natural ingredients. So I've personally been using their supplements for 6 months.
Is he a good Christian? Is this guy a good Christian?
They are my new supplement brand. So stop giving your money to pagan fitness brands.
Did you hear the fucking words that just came out of his mouth? Stop paying for pagan medicine brands. Pagan. What the fuck?
Difference between men and women. Join Mount Athos and create supplements for 6 months now, and I'll tell you right now, I am not going back. They are my new supplement brand. So stop giving your money to pagan fitness brands that can't even tell the difference between men and women.
Right? Don't give your money to pagan fitness brands that can't even tell the difference between a man and a woman. Can you believe that those words just came out of this guy's mouth? He's fucking flogging. Look at those dick-sucking lips, too. He's flogging a medicine brand. I'm just going to keep rubbing his lips here. He's flogging a medicine brand while being transphobic and using the Bible to sell it. I would think that he has much less than 32,000 subscribers because I have less than 300. Like, I feel like this guy should not be online.
Join Mount Athos in creating the next generation of health, strength, and spiritual vitality. Visit athosperform.com/reformation. And don't forget to use code REFORMATION for an exclusive discount today.
Listen, people are watching this live.
Oh, cool. He's going to give us a discount. That's cool. Sweet. Hell yeah, dude.
Their own conclusions about whether what I just did.
Oh, he's got to light up his pipe again. Jesus fucking Christ. Could this guy be any more of a fucking dweeb? Not only is he a Nazi, but he's a fucking dweeb. He's like he is the youth pastor who just grew up. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'm sure afterwards, by the way, you'll say, he ambushed me with your own words. With your own words.
That's a little presumptuous. I'm not going to say it's an ambush, but I think that's a low blow. And I think you know what you're doing, and that's fine. You're a tabloid journalist. I expected that. I don't think it's an ambush because I knew it would be like this. And people will see what you're doing, and I think they'll say...
I'll admit that he's correct, that Pierce is a tabloid journalist, but it doesn't discredit him. Nick said all the things he said. He even admitted he did.
Let's talk about racism. Let's talk about racism.
Just to reiterate, I don't think it's low for him to bring that up. I think Nick brought it up. I think if he doesn't want his father to be the subject of any discussion whatsoever, don't bring him up on a show where millions of people are watching. So I think Pierce...
Again, I hate to say the same thing that I said before about doxing because I think it's a shitty opinion. I think people do not majorly disagree, or people do not majorly agree with me on this. But I think that when you establish yourself as a public figure, when you put yourself online, and when you make yourself the subject of people's adoration and parasocial relationships, public information about you will happen. You will either slip up and show a receipt from somewhere, you will show a piece of mail, or somebody might figure something out. If someone is bound and determined enough to ruin your life, they'll probably find shit out about you, and they may hire someone to do it. They may hack into your fucking accounts themselves, but they're going to find a way to do it. And the fear over getting doxxed, especially when it's just a phone number and an email address, is just so, like, I think it comes from the tech sector where malicious entities can actually get information just from those little pieces of information from you, but the general public ain't doing that. There may be people who are in securities who may do stuff like that. There may be people who are in tech who do stuff like that, but that's few and far between. And it's really only if you put your neck out there. If you're not really doing that, if you're just like every other talking head, you don't have to worry about retaliation.
Fair there. I think Nick kind of lost that interaction, but I think Nick's about to win this next interaction.
Look, you've admitted you're a racist, correct?
So this guy, just so you know, this guy here, I'm a minority Christian white supremacist, pay me money and give me clicks. Let me grift off the brain dead Midwestern boomers and the chronic incel losers that sim for Trump and the conservatives. For real. And anyone can argue that it goes both ways. But the difference is whether you're arguing for rights for somebody else or you're arguing against rights for somebody else, even if you're sensationalizing. That's the same. That's like why people are like, oh, why doesn't Billie Eilish give up her $20 million condo so that the Mexicans can live there? Like, dude, like, you can have things and still have the stances without having to, like, completely bow yourself down to the altars of whatever values it is that you're upholding. Why don't the rich Republicans fucking spend all their money to fund anti-transgender shit? Because nobody wants to give up their quality of life just to fulfill some core value that they've established that they have. They're going to do everything that's in their power to try and stem the flow of shittiness. But they're not just going to, like, give all their money away to something like, well, why doesn't Bill Gates give away all his money? How do you think he got rich in the first place? He didn't get rich by giving away all his money. He didn't stay rich by giving away all his money. And it just happens to be that the most popular point of view is progressive right now. And it has been for a very long time. And so the majority of big businesses that have a stake in social fucking discourse are going to lean towards what's most popular. Of course, there are going to be opposition. Obviously, we see that.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Own it.
Okay, that's fine. You're perfectly entitled in a free democratic society to stare down the barrel of this camera and tell me you're racist. People can judge you accordingly. Many people,
hey, Bluefast
many people
man, what's up?
that you're racist will now have heard it from your own lips. That's fine.
There you go.
That's the point. The point of this interview is to go over the things you've said, which have led people to reach conclusions about you, and to ascertain whether those conclusions are fair and reasonable or not. That's it. So I want to play you another clip. This is what you talk about why white people are justified in being.
Well, what you mean is a Nazi salute, Blueface man. What you mean is Nazi salute emotes on your Japanese phone with your Chinese chips. Your rights end when they infringe on the basic morals and rights of others. There is a reason Western society collectively stopped imperialism, even though those people were not citizens from their country's basic human dignity. I won't say we stopped colonializing. We said that Trump wasn't interested in doing nation building. He pretty well is. I think we've established that at this point.
Racist. Let's take a listen to this.
First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
So if you're a Christian, do you think that it is a good Christian who supports Nick Fuentes? Now, since there is a person, blue-faced man, with a Nazi symbol in his thing, which I feel like you probably can't have on YouTube, I'm not sure. You know, I'm guessing that you're probably calling yourself a Christian. Because, you know, Hitler did. So. Nika Tiel, I'm pretty sure that can still get you banned. Well, not from my stream because I don't mind the engagement, but definitely from YouTube. It'll definitely get your account closed. But then again, you know, having a Nazi symbol for your PFP was supposed to as well. So I don't know. We'll see.
You stand by
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
that? The white people should go out of their way to avoid black people when they see them.
Absolutely. They would be wise.
Why?
Because it's a lose-lose proposition. If you're Irina Zarutska and you don't walk the other way, you get stabbed to death and you die. If you're somebody
Interesting how they only have one case to really point to for this black on white crime.
else and you walk on the subway and you stand near a black person or something, maybe it's fine. It's a lose-lose proposition. So no, I think that white people have been beaten into submission, that we're afraid to tell the truth about it. And the truth is that when you go into these major cities like New York or Chicago, I believe she was in North Carolina, there is a menace, which is young, black, adolescent men. They're extremely violent, and we have been told...
Well, now, you didn't say young, adolescent, violent black men. You said all black people should be locked up.
We have to pretend like they are every other person. We have to be colorblind to that. And we're supposed to go and be in the midst of all this danger. And I think that at this point, it's gotten out of control. You look at the BLM movement, they said that the reason that black people, are violent, or the reason there's crime is because of police brutality. Redlining or all these other things, they said we need to get rid of the police, we need to defund them. And a lot of cities did. A lot of cities like Chicago, for example, the police changed the rules of engagement. They don't chase them. It's not a felony if you steal a certain amount of merchandise. They won't chase them on foot. And now the city's totally up for grabs. And now...
If God is all-knowing, does he know what it feels like to take 8 inches up the backside? Just asking from a philosophical point of view. I would assume he does. If he knows every single sensation that there is to know, he probably knows what a dick tastes like. He probably knows what a taint tastes like. He probably knows what a butthole tastes like. Delicious little chocolate fudgy starfish. He probably knows what it feels like to take 10 inches, 12 inches even. A fist, if you will.
Whether you're in the Gold Coast or whether you're on the Mac Mile or you're in the worst neighborhoods in the city, you might get shot, you might get mugged, someone might run up on you. And I tell my followers, it is better to be perceived as racist or racist and walk the other way and maybe keep your life than to say, I'm a good anti-racist. I don't mind that this person's making me uncomfortable. Maybe he's looking a little froggy. I'm going to sit down because I'm...
Right, so you're coming with a preconceived notion that a black person is just going to be violent against you. Even from your objective point of view, example.
With a person, they get stabbed, mugged, whatever. And by the way, this is a strategy. They call it a friendly stranger. There's a crew of them. They do this in Chicago. They stand outside bars, black people, they approach strangers. It's a robbery crew, and they pretend to be a friendly stranger, and then they mug them. And stupid white people say, oh, hi, yeah, nice to meet you. You know, they grin, they laugh, they put up with the nonsense, and then they get mugged, or worse. Sometimes they get executed. And so as a white person...
How do you feel about...
So you're taking anecdotal evidence with no basis in reality, and you're just saying that all black people need to be imprisoned. Is this a good Christian? Guys, just so you know, even if you're just flipping here randomly there are people who are saying that Nick Fuentes is a good Christian. The poll here, I would weigh in, because the poll right now is still only 60-40. People are saying that Nick Fuentes is a good Christian, or at least this guy supporting Nick Fuentes makes him a good Christian, and he says this about the black community.
Mass shootings at school.
I think they're bad.
Who do you think commits the vast majority of the mass shootings?
I'm sure it's white people.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's a difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime, and it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school shooters?
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were perpetrated by young white men. And I'm curious.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Remember, Charlie Kirk also said he would be scared if he got a plane and the pilots were black, but he was just asking questions too. What he said was, my God, I hope they're qualified. Which is just so blatantly racist. It's not that he's, oh, I'm afraid that somebody with a socio-economical background that's similar but different to mine, because he's a pilot, which is a way more prestigious title than a fucking podcast host. I'm afraid that a person with a different socioeconomic background to me might not, be the best person around because, and then justify it by saying that black people have a long history of violence. But no, what he said was, gosh, I hope they're qualified. Which is, that's the very definition of holding one's own race above another.
Curious whether your advice would be to people
for no
who
reason.
have kids in schools, should they avoid white people at school? Should people, the kids at school, avoid young white men?
Now, this is where Pierce just, frankly, he either plays the role of an idiot, he's just acting like an idiot, or, well, he's not an idiot, he's incredibly brilliant, he's made it this far in this industry, so he's smart, so he's got to be just kind of playing dumb here.
You don't have to be smart to take opportunities and advantages where they're presented to you. You don't have to be smart to do that. You're probably an arsler shitlib. Cyrax Alpha. I'm not a liberal. I would consider myself a leftist. Borderline revolutionary. But yeah. Can you deny that there's IQ differences between races? Yes. I can absolutely deny that.
Because, yeah, the proportionality is key, right? Nick is saying that an inordinate amount of black people relative to white people are dangerous, and it would behoove you to exercise your...
Which is just plain incorrect.
...your pattern recognition and avoid dangerous-looking black people. He just says black people.
Right, but so they're just kind of like making it an issue when it's not an issue. Oh, so even worse, Keck. Okay. You're here talking to me, so
and that's where he loses so many people.
You must think I'm attractive.
Look, some of you guys have noticed the quarter zip trend that's been popular lately, where you've got a ghetto-looking black person, and they say all you have to do if you want to be trusted by white people, put on a quarter zip and like drink a matcha from Starbucks, and it shows the guy in the video.
I didn't make that claim. You made that claim. You said that there is a IQ difference between races, and I said that I would deny that. That means the burden of proof's on you, buddy.
He goes from looking gangster ghetto to putting on a quarter zip and.
Well, then you're going to have to support your argument then.
Drinking a matcha, and then everyone's high-fiving him and giving him a thumbs up. That's actually true. That's actually pretty profound. Because if you present like you're a part of a particular culture, people are going to believe that you're a part of...
Well, no. Actually, that's not what that means. What it means is that if you look like a gangster, or whatever the fuck these people tend to label people as. He said ghetto. If you're a ghetto black man, which he just considers all black people ghetto, unless they're in a fucking tuxedo. Which, oh, okay, now you can be my servant, right? Because if you're in a tuxedo, you're probably my butler.
That culture, and ghetto black culture is a huge problem in the United States. And that's what Nick is getting at. There is a particular culture in the black...
Ghetto black culture. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about gang culture? In which case, gangs make up a supreme minority of all black people. If you're trying to make that seem like it's endemic to a particular race... You're going to have to contend with Russian gangs, you have to contend with Chinese gangs, you have to contend with Japanese gangs, Korean gangs, Greek gangs, fucking Italian gangs. You're going to have to contend with all the other gangs that are out there, all the South American gangs that you say that Biden opened up the border for. You're going to have to do, deal with all those gangs too. I mean, it just seems really, really stupid.
that fosters
to be trying to
hatred of
accuse
white
black people of
objectification
like
and
all
abuse
the
of women,
violent crime.
hatred of police, hatred of law and authority, all these different things, glorification of violence, and all
What
of
does that
that's
mean?
from Starbucks, and it shows.
Hang on.
The guy in the video.
Let me hear his
down.
argument.
Because if you present like you're a part of a particular culture, people are going to believe that you're a part of that culture and get.
Right. So with gangs, I can't link it in here, but the differences in IQ are empirically supported. What isn't are the conclusions people draw. But look how fucking scared you are to be racist. Well, I'm not a racist. You just want me to be racist? I don't think that that's really helpful. The MAGA, it's literally supporting Trump after being mentioned over 38,000 times in the files that have been released so far. They literally just want affirmation of on their prejudice, hatred, internal sin they are attracted to.
Black culture is a huge problem in the United States, and that's what Nick is getting at. There is a particular culture in the black community, I would call it ghetto black culture, that fosters.
In the black community, I would call it ghetto black.
Hatred of white people.
You just proved my point by saying I'm not racist?
Objectification and
I'm not sure what point you think that you're making,
abuse of women,
but you didn't make one.
Police, hatred of law and authority, all these...
The only points that you've tried to make, which you've left unsubstantiated, are that other races have an IQ potential less than white people, which is just not true. And you're saying that I then have to prove that, which you're the one making the claim. And then you say that I'm scared. How scared you are to be racist. Are you saying that everyone's implicitly racist and that I'm just trying to cover that up? Because then you'd be making a mistake as well, because people aren't just born racist. So, again, I don't know what point you're trying to make, but you haven't really made a good one. So if you want to make a cogent point, I'd be happy to hear it. Yeah, because I can't link it in here. There's evidence for this online. Go look it up. Or wait, what was your claim? You said that other races have a lower IQ than white. Immediately you had to go, oh, well, I'm not racist. Right, I can't pretend to be racist because I'm not racist. That's just an answer to the point that you're trying to make. Look how scared you are to be racist. I'm not scared because I'm not racist. Are you asking me to pretend to be racist? What you're saying is confusing. You're expecting a reaction that I just don't have implicitly. Studies on IQ have historically shown differences in average scores across racial groups, with some research indicating lower average scores for certain minorities compared to white populations. However, the scientific consensus emphasizes that these differences are not due to genetics, but are primarily attributed to environmental factors such as socioeconomics, education, and health. You had to confirm you weren't because you're petrified. I'm sure I look very scared to you. Yes, me talking shit about Nick Fuentes really, really makes me seem scared. So, I'm not sure, again, what point you're trying to make. But if you're trying to make the point that races are less smart than white, you didn't make that point very well. And if you're trying to make the point that people are less educated than white people, then sure. I can vibe with that. We can talk about how socioeconomic views of certain minorities and cultures might reduce attention given to those neighborhoods. Yeah, absolutely. You're on a pretty good thread there. I don't think that, you really want to tease that out, but you can if you want.
Different things, glorification of violence, and all of that.
So black culture glorifies violence. He straight up said that he said ghetto black culture, but he said black culture. Oh, black culture, which I call ghetto black culture, glorification of violence. Hey, Angel Jimenez. Well, we're asking if you were a good Christian, which I assume, any Christian who claims to be a good Christian, if you were a good Christian, would you support Nick Fuentes? That's the question. If you were a good Christian, would you support Nick Fuentes? Guys, come on. gonna break that window at some point. And then I'm gonna have pup blood everywhere. Does it not? No, it doesn't. Listen to mainstream rap music. Are you talking about, like, when people are talking about violence against cops? You mean, like, when that kind of shit? You mean by, like, 2 artists or 3 artists? Or violence against each other, like you guys think that all black people just do? You mean like a handful of artists? Okay, sure. I'm from Sacramento. I remember Brother Lynch hung. But he didn't represent black people. Just so you know.
Is all that's really, really bad, and it can be observed. There are observable traits shared by all the people who are a part of that culture, or by many.
Nick is indeed racist, yes. This guy, though, who is a pastor, supports Nick Fuentes. He thinks that Nick Fuentes did so well during this debate. Oh, man. Nick Fuentes, he had Piers Morgan on the ropes. I don't think IQ and race has been sufficiently confirmed. No, I mean, there are definitely studies out there that say that minorities have or do worse on tests than white people, but it's because of the access to education. It's not because of genetics.
Right?
Lots of smart non-white people out there. Well, yeah, I mean, the majority of doctors in this country are, I think, of Eastern Asian and Asian descent, I'm pretty sure. Even nationality-wise, like a lot of them come from India or from China because the education there for those fields is so fucking good. Lots of smart, really can't say who's smart or not based on race. Correct. No statistic can be formed simply by looking at it, aside from like evaluating the racism of something based on a group having to do with race. Like, there's just no conclusions that you can make about that.
And so the trend is actually pretty profound because it's portraying something that's really true.
As Goose stated, there are clear differences when you account for socioeconomic and evolutional or environmental factors. Hence, when the idea of critical race theory comes about, which the right hates to look into. Well, the reason it all goes back to the beginning, when people tried to, like, it's offensive for people to think about, wow, my ancestors owned slaves. And so people like, Cyrax, who says that I'm scared to be racist, which you can't be scared to be something that you're not. It's very easy to correlate the fear from looking like a slave owner into your social interactions. Because that's trauma, right? That's traumatic. And that can translate from generation to generation to generation. And so we can either demonize black people so that maybe when we experience that trauma, that we realize that racism is wrong and slavery was wrong, then it won't hurt as much because black people are evil, or we can make it so that racism actually didn't happen. Nobody was racist. Everybody's racist, right? If everybody's racist, nobody's racist. So therefore, I don't have to feel bad about what my ancestors did. See what I'm saying? Like, it's all a coping technique, seems like. I wouldn't know because I've never had to use it. I don't really know too much about politics. I try to focus on my belief in Jesus Christ. So with the info I have on Nick, I probably won't support him. I wouldn't say it's good. It's brain drain. The immigrants who come here from India and China are rich. Right. Well, then maybe it's not a good education as opposed to an accessible education. But, I mean, that just goes to show how many doctors there could be if education was accessible. Because as far as I know, like, I think the last couple of doctors I had were either Chinese or Indian. Like, and I'm talking about, like, 4 different doctors. And they were all really good. So, I don't know.
Which is,
I'm getting real squeaky voiced.
Assimilate into what I would call Anglo-Protestant culture. Anglo-Protestant culture. That's what the whole quarter zip matcha thing is all about. It's assimilation. Like, leave behind the ghetto black culture and assimilate into Anglo-Protestant culture. That's kind of what's going on behind it.
White. Which is to him white culture. Anglo-Protestant. It's just a fancy term for white. He thinks that I'm not racist because all I believe is that if all these nasty ghetto black people decided to put on tuxes and maybe clean up their image a little bit, we would incorporate them happily into my church. Totally not racist.
Scenes with that. Yeah, and so I think what Pierce is doing here is he's just kind of playing dumb to all of that. He's playing dumb to the fact that there really is a ghetto black culture, and that the statistics prove that there really...
See what I mean? You have to presuppose that there's some evil underlying force that exists in the black community before you can say anything logical about the situation. Because it has to come from a place of, we know these people are evil. You're just hiding it. There's a reason the conservatives like to cut educational funding, as Trump stated, smart people don't like me. And hey, we love the poorly educated. I hear the poorly educated support. We love the poorly educated. Right.
Is a problem with violence among black people in that ghetto black culture. He just wants to totally overlook that, deny that, and say, but there's dangerous white people too. Yeah, of course there's dangerous white people, but we're talking about proportionality, okay? And that's why Nick is pressing him, and honestly, Pierce just looks ridiculous here. So let's keep going and watch.
Right, they always lift a bandy about this proportionality thing. Like, per capita, I mean, doesn't that mean, if you're looking at an increase in violence per capita, doesn't that mean that populations are growing, which only fuels your narrative that white people's population is shrinking, which, in my mind, seems like a win.
Nick, kind of press Pierce on this.
That's cool.
No.
Okay.
Do you know what per capita means? Do you know proportionality? There are more black people proportionally that engage in violent crime or involved in gangs, especially in these major cities, than there are white people that are school shooters.
Oh, right. Right. We're not going to look at the statistics in general. We're not going to look at them as a whole. We're going to talk about per capita, all right? We got to make sure that we keep things in these communities where they belong. There are no black people outside of Chicago, okay? Just so you guys know. I don't know if you guys have ever been to America, but there are no black people outside of Chicago. They don't exist anywhere. And, I mean, maybe there are some in blue cities, but black people just don't exist outside of Chicago. They're nowhere, all right? So don't you come at me talking about proportionality, okay? We all know about per capita. But also what we can do is we can take a look at the fucking FBI. We can look at the totals for total arrests. Totals. Violent crime. Pretty easy to just kind of look those up. Murder or manslaughter. Violent crime is up on blacks, right? You could have just said those statistics. You could have said that there's a model that shows black arrests higher than white arrests. But then again, someone could make the argument also that systemic racism is when blacks get arrested more often than white people. If we were to take a look at, what was it, convictions, I think it was convictions. Violent crime convictions. Oh, no, it was sex abuse. Sex abuse conviction. Oh, wow. Can't type. And as you can see here, it says that black people and men are disproportionately reported for and convicted of sex crimes in the U.S. In 2018, 28% of adults arrested for rape were black, and despite black people comprising 13.6% of the U.S. population. Right, but you're talking about centers. RPP, you're talking about centers of population, but we don't use national crime statistics like that. If you're trying to base an entire statistic on somebody's race, you cannot look at per capita. You have to look at the entire thing. Because then you're just supporting the claim that it's only gang violence, or that gang violence is somehow worse than any other crime. That doesn't make sense. Sex offenses in 2019. Arrested. White people, black people, completely different. But let's take a look. If you really want to talk about, what is it, proportionality, percentage distribution. %74 versus 20%. And I know that that's not their individual populations, but again, why the fuck would you be talking about individual populations when you're trying to go over a national fucking statistic? I love ICE, fuck Renee Good. Sure, if you want to say, you know, any other, like, just blatantly shitty shit, then please feel free. You're still giving me engagement. Please promote my channel more in the algorithm. Plus, we're not talking about Ice or Renee Good right now. We're talking about Nick Fuentes being a piece of shit. Come on. Get with it here.
Compared to the entire white population, and everybody understands that.
Two-thirds of mass shootings at school perpetrated by white people.
I am not denying that per capita statistics exist, but I'm saying that if you are going to base a negative opinion statistically on a race, then you need to take into account national statistics, not as presented as a segment of a race within a certain population. I don't think that's useful. If you look at the segregation of the races within cities like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, that still exists today, is based off systemic segregation from 1880s to 1960s. Well, that's what I'm saying, is that we as a nation have forced people into these communities. Nick Fuentes even touched on it. He said people are going to cry about it, saying it's redlining, it's yada, yada, yada. Yes, it is redlining. It is racism. It is systemic fucking racism that caused these communities to be formed in the first place by people who are impoverished enough to have to seek crime to get basic things like fucking diapers. It is not a product of being black. It is that's why national numbers are way more important to look at, because we need to look at this entire country as a whole. It's not about the communities that you've forced minorities into and why they're so insular and why they're so densely packed. It's because of racism. That's just very easy to say. That's just very easy. It's a simple way to answer that. So no, I don't think that per capita is useful when you're trying to say, is this guy being racist or not? This dude has never taken a statistics class. Sad. You're right. I have not taken a statistics class, but I don't really need to have to understand numbers. Spellman Fire Elf. Lol, bro. Nobody buys your tabula rasa modernist bullshit. I don't even fucking know what tabula rasa modernist bullshit means. You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
Good job. That's good job. Oh, Pierce, I don't know if
you make a mistake here. I am not an internet talking head.
Oh, Pierce, man, come
what
on.
proportion of white men commit school shootings? That's a question.
I just told you, it's 60-65% of school shootings by white
You're
people.
telling me what proportion of school shootings are committed by white people. I'm saying what proportion of white people have committed school shootings. Are you playing dumb, or are you just not that smart? What's the difference?
Right. So, what he's saying is that if 100 people are in this sample size and one person commits school shootings, then it's very clearly, or even 10 people, whatever percentage of it, then it's very clearly not a majority. But if you take a look at the black population, let's say that they're, 50 and there's 25, then that's a larger proportionality of, then there's 25 crimes or whatever, then it's a larger proportionality of that population that is responsible for those things. Again, I don't think that's useful. I think that it's just a justification to be racist. The per capita explains the proportion of crime against the total amount of people. No shit, I'm sorry, it's on a delay, so I'll forgive that, but I just explained it just now. I know what proportionality means. I'm saying that I don't agree that it's a useful statistic. At least not when you're trying to justify racism. Maybe you could address that point.
See, now you want to jump on the victims. The difference is you're asking, would you fear white people or black people? And that's the difference.
No, what I'm saying to you is, by your logic, if
blacks are over-policed and in areas that lack upwards mobility, right. It's difficult to solve without a cultural shift, though, which many are resistant towards for racist reasons. I mean, don't get it twisted. When people try to make a suggestion like Martin Luther King wasn't a good guy, they're not just asking questions. They're not just trying to go down the rabbit hole on a topic. They are being blatantly racist. They just don't want people to have faith in what they believe is a representative of the black community. Without Christianity, there would be no Christmas. I guess completely discounting Saturnalia. So I'm rooting for Christianity because I like Christmas. It's a pagan tradition. MAGA wants children for themselves. That's why they Very correct. MAGA wants forced births to supply their daddy's trafficking scheme. Well, Epstein's dead, so they're going to have to find a new middleman, a new fixer, if you will. But there's plenty of people in power right now who would be happy to do that kind of stuff, so I think you just got to hit one of them up.
We now have agreed that the vast majority of mass shootings in school...
Now, just so you know, this Christian man down at the left corner of the screen, not me, this guy, that guy over there, He's smoking a pipe. Like fucking Gandalf.
Are committed by white people and predominantly young white men, then presumably your advice would be to avoid young white men because they perpetrate these massacres. But it won't be because they're white.
Right. Right. So Pierce is talking about mass murders. Pierce is saying that if the majority of school shootings, spree killings with mass fucking, mowing people down, lots of death, if it means that we should be scared of young white men, because that's the majority of the people who do those crimes. And I would say that that would be just as irrational of a fear as walking down the street and being scared that a black person walking towards you is going to commit violence against you, which is literally what Nick Fuentes fucking said. Hey. I joined late. I'm not justifying racism. I was just saying that you have to look at all data points before making... Right. I did not say that you can completely discount per capita. I said that it is not useful in trying to determine whether this person is a Nazi or not. It's very clear. 14 Signs of Fascism sounds really familiar. And I may have made a video about it already. 14, Epstein's not dead? Where is he then? Is it this one? Is it this one? Tell me which one it is. How can you be sure? How can you be sure?
So are you playing dumb or are you actually dumb? It's about proportionality. You are because you're, well, I don't think you are dumb. I think you're smart actually, but you're deliberately avoiding per capita. And everybody knows that's the difference. What proportion?
See what I mean? People only try to use per capita when they're justifying racism.
Of white men are school shooters. It's probably 0.00001%. What proportion of black men have committed violent crimes?
Right. Do you see what I'm saying? So like black communities, which are predominantly black, which predominantly have black culture, because of systemic racism, because they were put into these communities, because, I mean, it's the same thing with like, Native Americans. A startling percentage of Native Americans are responsible for all crime committed by Native Americans. Isn't that crazy? A startling percentage of their entire population is responsible for violent crimes. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's the same fucking thing. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense for this argument to try and make an entire group of people seem subhuman. Oh, I was saying you could read the list online, but there are probably longer form videos on it. Oh, okay. Search for it then. 14 signs of... What we ended up doing a few streams ago was we followed the timeline of the Nazis, like all the way from the beginning up to the Beer Hall Push, up to the Night of the Long Knives, or Kristallnacht or whatever. Like, all the way up to the concentration camps. So... I do not mind reading stuff like this. So I'll take a look at it off stream. I'll save it for now. And then I'll take a look at it and we'll see if we want to cover it for a video or something.
It's probably like 5%. I guess I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's very high. And I would add to that, even as it concerns schools. Why do you think parents...
But so yeah, sorry, to circle back. My point was that if you are trying to say that globally, or not globally, if you're trying to say that nationally, a larger percentage of black people commit crime in their population centers than white people do, then okay, but that doesn't take into account the systemic racism, nor does it take into account the fact that overall, black people are pulled over more, often prosecuted harder. White people tend to be more culpable for violent crimes. Not even that, but white-collar crimes, almost entirely perpetrated by white people, that could potentially hurt way more people than like a single murder might. When almost everything is lies and propaganda, then I'm glad that was a dude who said I'm the truth. What? Are you talking about Jesus? Remember, the Nazis have emulated the black shirts from Mussolini. Oh yeah. Fascismo. Was it core fascismo, or what was it? It was something fascismo.
Pay a super high property tax to live in a school district where there's white people, because they know that if they go to the black school, it's going to be the Bloods and the Crips, it's going to be gangs, it's going to be, you know, you talk about school shootings, nobody talks.
Right.
about all the school shootings that are committed by gangbangers in.
So all black schools are blood in the Crips. It's all just the blood in the Crips. All black schools. The fact that he's even saying that there are black schools, I'm sure that there are schools that have predominantly black children, but holy fuck, they're all blood versus Crips. All of them. It's just gang violence in every single school. What the fuck?
Around the school, and all the other violence that's associated with that. I mean, yeah, that's another really important part of this discussion.
And he's gonna fucking steelman it.
Is that there's been all these reports coming out lately of inmates who, in their documentation, in the police reports, they were said to be white when they are very clearly not white. They're Mexican or they're even black, but they're being counted as white people. So
what is this fucking anecdotal bullshit? What are you trying to make the point of? He's trying to just say that black people are evil?
It becomes really difficult because now we know, when enough of those reports come out, we know we can't even trust the statistics. And so what Nick is getting at here is that we can all see, we can all observe that there is a problem with black crime in America. And frankly...
What? He's just full send at this point. I think Nick Fuentes can see, I think I can see, we all can see that there's just a problem with black people in America. What the fuck? How is this still on here?
Pierce just loses. Like every intelligent conservative Gen Z who's watching this, he just lost them. He lost them completely. Whatever else he was going to say, they have tuned out because he won't even admit the basic facts on the ground. He won't even concede to the reality that we're all observing.
And then just admitting that the propaganda campaigns that have been launched have been super effective in getting people like to be openly racist and Nazis.
Okay, and it's very important that we do that because if
he just lost all of Gen Z. Yeah, because you guys are brainwashing them into fucking Nazis.
Then we can't solve the problem, and it's just going to get.
We can't solve the problem.
Worse. And so, Nick, for his flaws, he is definitely moving the Overton window on this issue. I think it's really important.
Nick Fuentes, a documented Nazi, in this guy's point of view, or in this guy's opinion, is moving the Overton window with his opinion on black people. I'm the Truth. Some powerful words. You know that I think there was a musical artist called The Truth. I thought maybe you were talking about him. I don't know what clip or video you're watching, but most media is hyperbole or straight up overgeneralizations to get views. I wouldn't take... No. Spellment. Please, look up Nick Fuentes. He is the leader of a Nazi party. He funds PACs that support candidates that he wants to be in office because they agree with him. So he's not just a talking head. He is actually an activist. He actually has, was it ape? He's got like, I don't think he runs it, but he's got a big stake in APAC. And he's a member of, the Socialist Party, like the Nazi Party of America. He looks like he snorts a lot of cocaine. Look at that jaw. You don't get a jawline like that not doing cocaine. I know. Okay, all right. So maybe I'm a little fatter than I used to be. Maybe I'm a little fatter than I was when I was 20, okay? Maybe I'm a little bit fatter than I was halfway through my life. Okay? Well, so far. Maybe. But I can tell you back then I had a jawline that could kill. I had a jawline that could cut a diamond. It wasn't because of cocaine. It was just because I had good genetics. But it could have been. I just made no point. I made 0 point. I made a negative point just now. I hope you enjoyed that, because I thought it was pretty funny. Speaking of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen my Instagram. What a transition. What a fucking transition. If you guys have never seen my Instagram, please, if you've never seen my Instagram, please, dear God. So I do clips and funny videos that aren't, these are all just like, I used to use an AI to clip my videos or my live streams down into small things. Oh my God, it sucked. It sucked real bad. And you had to pay for it. So I won't be doing that anytime soon. But it uploaded like 1,000 videos. Crazy. So I got to go all the way down here just to find my videos. Anywho, I don't know if you like tacos. Oh, Danny boy. No, RPP, the clips themselves were not AI. They were clipped by AI. They were just cut down. But it sucked at it, so I stopped doing it. I haven't uploaded on Instagram for a long time. But it really helped with reducing the editing workload, I can tell you that much. But yeah, I don't know if you like tacos, but if you ever get a chance to go to Tacos El Gordo in Vegas, oof. Oh, god damn. So good. So good, so good, so good. What's one that I would like to play? You like these? Do you like these thumbnails, guys? These are actually ones that I made. These are not AI slop. Where's my... Oh.
It looks like some of you have been leaving some nasty-ass comments suggesting that maybe I have a receding hairline. Well, I got one thing to say to you. You're absolutely right. Until yesterday, I was as bald as a Crenshaw melon. But thanks to Dr. Fran Gablanderham's magical mystery white slices, my follicles are pouring hair out of them. Simply take the wrapper off the patented miracle cream slices like so.
Miracle cream slices, they bring your hair back.
And apply, and you've got hair for days. So if you want to get rid of all the negativity surrounding nasty offensive comments about your hairline, get some of Ham for Grambaland's Miracle White Cream Slices, and you'll be Rapunzeling that shit in no time. Rock, flag, and eagle, bear. Hey haters, it looks like some...
Stop! Sorry, didn't mean to yell. I kind of have to. Ita bobita, hey! There's probably someone like outside who's in need of their attention, and so they're probably taunting them. You guys like it? Do you guys like it? My view count went down to about like 3 now. You know that always happens whenever I put the my own content on there. It's almost like I'm the only one that finds me funny. That's okay, you know? That's all right. I'm proud of what I did.
And I do wish that he would consider...
Yeah, sorry, it was a bit of a commotion.
Because I think he could, frankly, I just think he could win more people over to his cause if he would just be more precise. Because when you ask him to clarify...
Or be less racist, or less of a Nazi. Anywho, I think that's a good place to leave it. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I appreciate it. If you did just tap in, then I apologize, but you're shit out of luck. We're leaving. I'm leaving. It's over. But please throw a like and a subscribe on, because you may catch me next time. Tomorrow we're going to be playing video games. That's the pattern of how we do things here. It is 2 days of talk, and then it is 2 days of video games. That's just kind of, you know, par for the course, really. We're going to be playing, I think, what's it called? Monster Train 2. What do you think about Conor McGregor's desire to build the world's largest statue of Jesus Christ in Ireland? More power to him if he wants. If that's what makes him happy, sure, go for it. Doesn't mean that I'm going to start believing in God or following Christianity. But, I mean, more power to him. I don't care if a person follows a religion. That ain't what I got a problem with. It's when they try and infringe on my rights. You know? No, you have a good one, Spellement, Fire Elf. You have a good one, gosh darn it. You have a good one. All right? I hope to see you on that follow list, my friend. Bye, guys. Have a good one. Thank you so much.